Forever. Dog.
Warning, the following podcast contains a dragon that cracks wise, hip-hop chimney sweeps, comped cousins, and the wide-reaching appeal of Tony Danza. All this plus a look back at the Disneyland 35th anniversary special with Joe Kwaczala. Hey, it's podcast The Ride.
Welcome to Podcast The Ride, a podcast about theme parks where one of the hosts got their pants souped by theme park water within 3 hours of this very record. Which one was it? Was it Mike Carlson?
No, no way.
Dry as a bone,
Yes.
Jason Sheridan.
No, mine got sued for other reasons. Don't worry about it.
You having a problem? We've been talking about feeling, having issues down there lately. I know you guys are having a little bit of early onset something, but is everything
No, that
all right?
was that just trickles a little bit.
Yeah, that's
all
just
we were
trickles.
talking
That
about.
dries pretty quick.
It's
It
normal.
just
We're
dries
men in
pretty
our
quick.
30s.
Yeah.
It's
No,
nothing wrong with
when
it.
that happens.
So it's not
yes, to everyone
souping.
across the board. No,
Yeah.
no soup wouldn't happen
Oh.
from that. Okay. That leaves me, Scott Gardner. Hi. I did. Do you want to guess the circumstances? What could have happened where 3 hours ago?
Jurassic World.
That'd be not Jurassic World.
Oh,
Be one other probably location in the vicinity where you could soup your pants.
Despicable Me, super silly fun land.
oh yeah. Were you
Water
frolicking in the water
playground?
play
No, you're
area
right.
with
that
the?
would be another one. No. I didn't frolic, nor did I take a shot at the Irish bar where you can get hammered and end up face down in the in the kiddie pool.
Like Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, no, it's I didn't have my own. I didn't have to be resuscitated before this
because
record.
I'm happy as you're just lying there.
Sometimes you get a little too happy around
Yeah.
there, and that's what I was doing. No, this was City Walk Fountain. I danced with the devil at the City Walk Fountain. My
Wow.
boy was feeling a little oddly brave. It was kind of nice to see because he's a little bit hesitant, and he was getting pretty close to the water. So I decided, well, maybe we should brave it a little more. But I picked him up. I was like, I don't want
Right.
him to just get, because one of those jets is like twice his
Knock
size
him over.
potentially.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, genuinely, that's
Yeah.
a lot of.
And
not-
he's sitting in the car right now.
yeah.
He's just sitting around
Just
for
drying
90
out.
minutes to 2 hours.
I'm just blasting the heat.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully it's not too much for him. But a toddler in a hot car is a problem. Like if you forget that it's happening, but if you did it on purpose, I think it's fine, right?
Yeah. I mean,
If you're
look,
controlling the heat.
I mean, yeah. As long as the heat's on and he's got the Steely Dan discography, which is what I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, no,
He's in there.
I got a
gave him
program.
a
Yeah,
to-go order of bubblegum shrimp, butterfly shrimp in the car too to keep him sustained.
Yeah, you know his taste. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got him into shrimp early.
Good.
Yeah, when it's heading from Royal Scam to Gaucho, I think right about now, so he'll be doing fine. No, but yeah, it got me more than him, which led to the funny circumstance of like I am pretty soaked, and luckily it was on the way out, not the way in, so. Car ride home, I'm sort of like the shirt got really souped too, and like, do I really want to wear this for the whole? And I elected not to, so I was just driving without my shirt for a little bit.
Wow, like
which
Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time,
Exactly
in
the
Hollywood.
same. Yeah. And that's for anyone watching this one on YouTube, that's what you're seeing under here.
Wow.
I would, but I don't want this to be a body show.
Of course, yeah.
Exactly, Brad. Just imagine Brad Pitt, and it's just what I got. No, it felt weird, but like I'm gonna do it because I don't want this wet fabric on me until I realized that my drive home had not one but two writer's strike locations. Along the way. And I'm like, what if I am at a stoplight and right then a bunch of people go by And what if it's people I know? What if it's like a lot of people I know at Warner Brothers or something? Or not people I know, but like someone I really respect. Like what if that's the day Vince Gilligan is out? And then he sees a weird guy with his shirt off with a toddler in the back.
Bill Prady, James Burrows, like
They're all out.
they're all there.
That's a good little prelude.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent.
Chuck Lorre's out.
It's a reunion. What if the reunion of the Disneyland 35th anniversary special was happening today? I'd be mortified. So it worked. I threw a jacket on. It was fine. Now I'm regularly clothed and I'm ready to talk about Disneyland's 35th anniversary special. Excited for this one. This is like this is a very good theme park special, I think. One I've always liked very much.
Maybe the best one.
It could be the best. I mean, it's possible that you could enjoy one more, but
sure,
maybe in a way, maybe because it's bad or has problem. But in terms of like genuine quality and like good material and shooting style, this one's pretty up there. This special is free on YouTube in various ways. If you want to watch along with us or watch it first before we do it. And speaking of specials that are free on YouTube, that is something that our guest has. That's a pretty good tie together, right?
Hell yeah.
So put those back to back. Disneyland's 35th anniversary special. And then right after that, Ooh La La, the new comedy special from our guest, Joe Kwaczala. It's Joe Kwaczala. Hey.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Wow. Very impressed by the segue.
It's pretty nice, right? That you could load those up back to back.
Yeah, make a playlist.
Yeah. We should do that actually. Well, this episode we're putting something in the playlist right now. That's almost a full day's worth of entertainment.
24 hours.
Perfect.
So excited to have you. Excited to talk that you brought this to the table. Also, and I know, and now I realize that I know this comes from an area of interest of yours. I know from going to your place that time that you have a fondness for not just old specials, but old specials on VHS with the commercials baked in.
From my personal collection. Yes. So I have this special on a VHS tape from the night it aired. And I have, at one point, I converted it to DVD, and then recently I converted it to digital. So now I have it on a hard drive, and that's how I watched it for this episode. Was I watched my taping of this special from February 4th, 1990, with the commercials intact, which you can, there's a version of this that's on YouTube that has the original commercials from the original broadcast.
Wow.
That
it matches
outside of one that was different. It matched up with what I had.
One local. Did I see one that I ended up, after you said that, I was like, I gotta watch the commercials. I want to see the commercials. There seemed like a very sad one about like
homeless.
St. Louis.
Yes.
So
that must have been local to whoever uploaded that. Mine was a commercial for Liquid Plumber. Okay. For some reason, we didn't have like an analogous local commercial. It was just like two actors with mustaches playing plumbers being like, I mean, I don't want you to use Liquid Plumber, but it works.
So that's uplifted. That's a good trade out. That's a happier,
absolutely. That's what Pittsburgh, local Pittsburgh NBC affiliate, wanted instead of a harrowing documentary about the homeless problem.
Yeah.
Oh, then let me ask you, Pittsburgh. Then, so what? So you grew up there or lived there then, at least?
Yes, my whole childhood.
Okay. What was your theme park?
Well, the thing is, the local Pittsburgh theme park is Kennywood. And growing up, I didn't realize that it was like a kind of unusual thing to have like a cool theme park in your town. But my parents are from Ohio, so we would go to Cedar Point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every summer. And I have very fond memories of going to Cedar Point every year. Back then, there was the kids area was branded with the Berenstain Bears. Which is how, when the Mandela effect came up years later,
yes,
I was like, no. I spent a lot of time with the family.
Oh, you knew. You've seen this in print, in person.
It was all over the place. Yeah, it was not something that I would have gotten, that just peripherally came by, which I think was the problem with the Mandela effect, is when you're not paying attention. But when you're in the shit in the Berenstain Bears Park within Cedar Point, you don't forget a thing like that.
Yeah, were they the walk around characters? Did they have their house or anything? Like, what was the setup?
There was there was definitely a house, and there were I recall there being a slide inside of a fake tree.
Yeah.
When it was like a dark slide, I suppose, like the kind of slide you go through and it's pitch black for 3 seconds.
Oh, wow.
And then you come out, which is scary but fun as a kid.
Yeah.
And then one of the things I used to do as a kid at the Berenstain Bears Park, which is my parents thought it was funny because it wasn't special to this place, but they just would have pieces of paper and crayons. And I just sit and draw for hours, just at the Berenstain Bears Park.
Cool,
just because it was fun, and also I don't know, maybe it was novel that I could draw with people, new people, I guess. But yeah, now it's Snoopy.
Okay, yeah. As is
kind of
almost
unified.
every.
Yeah.
There's I was just at a Snoopy in the Great America up north.
And is it Knott's also Snoopy?
Yeah. And then a bunch of other ones are too. I think Canada's Wonderland that we just covered as some Snoopy.
Yeah. Dorney Park pivoted from Berenstain Bears to Snoopy at some point.
There was another
in Allentown,
Berenstain.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get it. It's a stronger brand. They were running out of stuff to do with the Berenstain Bears. Want to wear a moo-moo like Ma? Like Ma Berenstain Bear?
Joe, did you know, this came up on the show recently, that in one of the books it says Ma is 27 years old.
No. Man, because Ma does, she's I guess the phrase is old maid. She seems like an old maid.
Yes. It's all about the hat. I think if you change that hat out, it ages you down, I don't know, 30 years, 50 years, way down.
Because it seems like she should be in a rocking chair knitting. That's the vibe of Ma Berenstain Bear.
Yeah, no one. If you're just a mom, if grand or great aren't in your title, why are you wearing that hat?
Yeah, it's Pa was also, he felt old. He didn't feel like a youthful bear.
No, I mean he was farmer core. Pa, he had the overalls and the hat. So that's got a wider range than whatever that. I mean, should we try to describe the Ma Berenstain Bear hat? I don't know how to quite. I almost want to say it's like a shower cap.
It's a lot like a shower cap. Yeah,
which is such a strange choice.
It's like a sleeping bonnet, but she's wearing it. At all times,
right? And it matches her dress, as I recall.
Yeah,
which makes it seem like this is a pajama ensemble. Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for whatever reason, I guess. Look, as I think I said before, bears, I guess they used to age differently back then. I guess so when we were kids, they just seemed. People thought they were older, but. Ultimately, we don't know what the bear's lifespan is either. So,
and when you start feeling old,
yeah, exactly. So, it's possible that she was 60s bear years in her 60s bear years.
That might have been normal. We don't know how many sets of children that couple had that then grew up and left the den.
Never saw them again.
And then how many were to come?
We assume, there could be fully grown Berenstain Bears.
Is there a Berenstain Bears book like the end of the David the Gnome show where they die and become part of the grass and everyone watches in horrified terror like Swift the Fox did on that episode, if you know what I'm talking about?
I do. Absolutely.
Did you have that on VHS from your childhood?
No, but I remember when that was on Nickelodeon for a little bit. Right in the age where I would have been watching. And I checked out the pilot of David the Gnome recently. And if you guys have watched it recently, you'll notice.
Oh, I will.
The producers.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I don't.
Harvey and
Bob Weinstein.
Oh no! What in the? That's supposed to be so shocking to see.
Oh,
you're
really not expecting it.
Like what?
David the Gnome.
It's a beautiful theme song, and then as soon as that's happening, and the lush, you're going over
close
your eyes. No. Then Bob and Harvey. I think it's also repurposed cartoon from Spain.
Yes, or some.
Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely an import.
And there was nudity in the original. Because Andrew Grissom gave me a David the Gnome toy that was vintage, and if you look on the back, there's naked gnomes, and I went,
God.
"What the heck?"
Well, that was custom.
For
the back of
Harvey?
that toy was custom.
Custom by him or for Mike?
Oh, for Mike.
Did-
I
For
mean.
me,
Yeah.
yeah.
Andrew had that.
An Etsy
Naked
seller.
David the
Yeah.
Gnome's wife, Martha, I think was her name.
The
Martha?
opening shot of David the Gnome is David taking a bath.
Yeah, and like the big with the big scrub
With
brush.
a big brush.
Yeah.
And then so in an uncut version, he stands up.
He
and you
stands
just
up, full
stare at his
frontal.
penis.
Yeah.
Yeah, a slow tracking shot into his pubes.
Also uncut.
Yeah.
uncut.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what is,
Uh-huh.
where is he getting that thing circumcised? Come on.
By a magical bird.
Oh yeah,
maybe
maybe
by
like
a
an
wizard.
an ogre like comes and chops it.
Has a sickle and just kind of.
Any number of sources.
Yeah, you're right. I'm wrong. I'm sorry.
Wonderful
I'm wrong about
sources.
that.
Is that when you to go back to your specials with commercials collection? Does anything else strike you as like a crown jewel of something that you've kept up or that you have, or just that you're fond of?
Oh, my favorite discovery, because like it was only maybe like 10 years ago that I found the tapes and was like, oh, I should like. I didn't realize. I don't know what's here. Right.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is the pilot of a TV show called Scorch.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
that.
think we've talked about Scorch a
Have
little
we?
bit.
Scorch is
I feel like
hysterical.
we must have.
100% greenlit in the like success of Dinosaurs, the TV show,
Probably Alf.
and Alf
It's
as
kind of the
well.
Alf format.
Oh.
It's early 90s, and it was the backstory is that there was a guy, like a nightclub act, like ventriloquist with a dragon puppet, and they chose to take the puppet and make him the star of a sitcom. And the premise is that the dragon overslept by 100 years, which doesn't seem like long enough.
Wait.
So he wakes up in like 92 or something, and we're saying like 1892 when like there was photography.
Maybe on some fundamentalist Bible timeline. Yeah, we had dragons in the 1890s. Look at it, they wrote on them in the Civil War.
But Scorch oversleeps, and then he crashes literally into the home of a single father and his cute, precocious little girl, and then is part of the family for some reason.
Was the dad then the guy who puppeteered him, or did the puppeteer stay below?
The puppeteer stayed below, was not
Full Alf.
Yeah, full Alf.
Okay.
No, that guy's not a presence, but the idea of ventriloquism is baked into the premise of the show because Scorch, the dragon, gets stuck or sneaks into the like duffel bag of the lead, who is trying out to be the weatherman for the local news, and they don't like him until this wisecracking dragon pops up, and they're like, "We like him for the news."
Oh,
and so,
wow.
we like your puppet that you're doing, and he's like, "Yeah, a puppet," and that's
Wow.
part of
What
the
it
premise of Scorch.
But what if?
And that would have been the whole series, is that it's a newscaster team of a human and a little dragon.
Or
Yes.
one part of the,
And
and
then
now
the-
we throw,
yeah,
and now at
sure.
the desk it's Dan and Scorch.
Right, and then the other aspect would be the like home life of like
Right.
a little girl and her new brother Scorch.
That's really insane. I think here's why I know about Scorch from prior. I believe my wife Erin went to elementary school with the kid of Scorch's not owner, but
Creator?
no, what do you call him? The weatherman.
Oh, okay. The
So what is
father-
he? His landlord, really?
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Although
Best
there is
friend.
a landlord character, as you can
Oh,
imagine.
then it's not the land. I don't know.
because
Then the
there
guy
is a woman
Scorch's-
who's like, "What's going on in here?" And it's like, what's that? A puppet? You know, that kind of stuff.
Oh.
You need your ropers in a
Farcical.
situation. That's
But
where
the
some of
puppet
your
is
comedy-
famous. The puppet will be
Oh
famous.
right, yeah. Soon the puppet will be once you check out the
So
evening
that's
news.
going to have to go out the
Oh
window.
wait, yeah, and in their the lie is that it's a puppet.
Right.
This is very confusing.
Yeah.
Or is he more concerned about anyone finding out that it's a real dragon because they might need
Probably.
to like?
I guess that's
test
the-
it?
yeah,
It breathes
that's it.
fire. That's kind of.
It's a workplace hazard at the news station.
And not good for the landlord and her property.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, that's true. That's
Damage.
accidents waiting to happen left and right.
Yeah.
This made me think of, I must have talked about it before, but I had to look up what it was called. And in doing so, I discovered something about it I did not know. But the show Unhappily Ever After, that was on WB.
The Married with Children ripoff with Bobcat.
That was on for a few
Bobcat
seasons.
Goldthwait is a voice of a puppet. I did not know. I mean, I knew Nikki Cox. I didn't know Kevin Connolly was on it. I didn't realize there was 100 episodes of Unhappily Ever After. Yeah.
And it, it provided an actual Unhappily Ever After, the marriage of Nikki Cox and Bobcat Goldthwait, which didn't last.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Wow.
Know who she, I don't know if she necessarily left Bobcat for him, but she went on to another comedian after Bobcat.
I know all about the Nikki Cox marriage history.
She then went to Jay Moore.
Oh. Were they on a show together? Did that cause that? Or was that just a separate...
That seems likely, but I do not know.
Jay Moore, who's now married to the owner of the
with Jeannie
Lakers.
Buss. Yeah.
Yes. What an insane...
Was Jay Moore on Las Vegas?
That sounds right.
Because she was on Las Vegas.
I can't say that with any certainty.
Did they meet at the upfronts? Like he was there for action.
She
was there
possible. That might.
You're Las Vegas.
There's no better time to be Jay Moore than action. He's hot then. So
she had a sitcom about dating a pro wrestler.
I just want to confirm Nikki Cox and Jay Moore met while filming Las Vegas.
Okay. Wow. You do know. I don't know why you know.
He might have been a guest star or something. That one of those. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, because Dumel was the star.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, who can forget? Jimmy Kahn and Dumel.
Jimmy Kahn, Las Vegas.
Yeah.
We have not talked about the show Las Vegas in 6 years on this show.
That's actually crazy because I remember when I was doing my tour guide training at Universal Studios.
Oh yeah.
One of the things that they gave the whole class an assignment, and everyone had to go learn about an NBC or Universal property and do a little book report about it, essentially. And I was assigned Las Vegas. I had to go learn who the stars were, and it's an action-packed series involving the ins and outs. Now I don't remember the name of the casino. Shows you how much it stuck with me. They should have stripped me of that valedictorian. They should now strip me retroactively of my valedictorian status. That's right, I was the valedictorian.
Wow.
I should drop that more often.
Yeah, you really should.
It's impressive. Impressive.
I was never. If you can imagine, I was never the valedictorian of anything else. So
accredited institutions.
yeah. But that's a school. There was a classroom where you earn that status by naming all of the Desperate Housewives.
Their names and actresses?
Yeah, I've talked before about I had to know that because the Wisteria Lane was a big part of the tour at that time. So I had to know the actresses, the character names, and what house it was.
Is that Brenda Strong's voice I hear? Well, it sounds like we're coming up on Wisteria Lane.
I just remember it was always the most pained. Never did I take pauses more because I was pretty slick otherwise. That's the bungalow where Alfred Hitchcock made many of his classic films. That's the clip you got to do it at. But I would just go dark for and over there the Periwinkle house is where the home of Nicolette Sheridan, who played
Bree?
Jesus. That's not a name, crap. Jesus. I think her name's Jesus on the show. Don't look it up. You don't have smartphones right now anyway. It's 2006. You can't look it up. As far as you know, I'm the guy who knows everything. Truly, like such torture. But I had that information in my head for a week and a half, and then
gone.
Pulling teeth to remember it. But Scorch, I'll never.
Scorch debuted with another show that was probably for a similar audience, a little more infamous, Fish Police.
Of course, we just talked about Fish Police.
Fish Police also.
These things are really haunting the show. Berenstain Bears, Fish Police.
Well, we just learned that guy Ken drew the Fish Police comic.
Oh yes, a guy who works at NECA Toys.
No, he just worked with them.
Oh, okay.
He's the guy. He's like an animator and stuff, and he worked on Tiny Toons. And he's worked on a million different animated things. But we learned he drew the comics of Fish Police.
Spin-off. Wow, the most in-demand item. Craving more Fish Police. Gotta have more Fish Police. Check out your local comic stand. Primetime show.
The thing, it's in prime time, but you watch it and you're like, this is a Saturday morning cartoon.
Did they just call it up and move it wrongly because The Simpsons did? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
That must.
Yeah,
I never thought about that.
Networks
till
were
now.
hungry for primetime animated shows, but they knew it had to be animated, but they didn't think about why The Simpsons was funny or why it was successful.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, it's animated. Well, you need more animated shows. And so they would get animated shows that felt like they should not be in primetime.
Yeah.
And looked like Fish Police looks like it should be.
We need our bleeping Simpsons. We need our bleeping Capital Critters. Okay.
Yep.
That was the other. I've never dove into Capital Critters. I'm curious. Is that like an alternate dimension where the president and all of Washington are critters, or are they critters who live?
They live underneath.
Oh,
in
it's like
DC.
that. It's like that Ben Franklin Disney thing where concurrently there's an animal equivalent of our human thing.
It's like the Tom and Jerry Wizard of Oz, where they're just like hanging out in the background while the Wizard of Oz happens.
Oh yeah. Not affecting the course of events of the well, this is good. I've learned so much now. I know why Scorch was around. I'm sorry to stay on Scorch. I had one more question about Scorch. My question. Wait, it was a question. Oh, what they didn't take into account is the possible, like, what happens on the day that a hurricane or a tornado, and like some acts, like 500 are dead today in our town. Now for a report from the from the carnage on the ground is Scorch.
You get solemn Scorch wiping his brow, giving a Cronkite level.
Sad day today. Sunday today. In Dallas today.
Scorch taking off his glasses.
Yeah, putting glasses on
taking
Scorch
off.
just so he can take them off.
Solemnly take them off.
Shake his head.
But, he's a pro. He gets his composure back ASAP. The vice president, well...
Jack Ruby being escorted through a parking garage.
If only Scorch had landed 30 years prior, the fun that could have been
he hadn't
had.
overslept. Think about all the things Scorch was asleep for. Kennedy assassination.
That all had to be explained to him. Oh, imagine.
That's the episode we never got. Yeah.
Yeah. Scorch.
Catching Scorch up.
The last 100. Oh, you got a lot to learn, Scorch.
That's actually better that he overslept for that, because he was supposed to be on the grassy knoll.
Yeah, you're right. There's
Remember, wake up at this spot from this grass.
You're either going to get called from the Cubans or from this guy, George H.W. Bush, okay? And you got to be in this one knoll. Do you know what a knoll is?
Was he supposed to help? Was he like, okay, we got two people shooting, but just in case as a backup, we're going to have a little dragon.
He was the distraction. It was going to be our first dragon sighting in America. We've been waiting to deploy this for a long time. We need to kill the president, but we will have a dragon appear. Everyone will be concentrating on the dragon, and then boom, we take out...
Tragedy at Dallas Day, but also something else.
A dragon?
Confusingly,
dragons are real.
That's a tough day to be the newspaper editor. Okay, well, we know what the big headline is, but some of the front page has to be. We
gotta dedicate something to this dragon.
Dragons are real.
I mean, we have this Zapruder film, but it left the car to go see what's going on with the dragon. We got great footage of the dragon.
We almost saw the car, but then we got to see a dragon do a couple barrel rolls.
Getting an AP wire that just says eating ash.
Oh my God, what could have been? But okay, we shift now to other 1990s primetime oddities, and I'm so glad you brought up this one. Because it's a fun. What people have asked us to do this one. Certainly, I love this one, but specifically, I remember this airing. I vividly remember it airing. I remember it scaring me because I'd been to Disneyland by that point, was already obsessed with Disneyland by that point. And there's a bunch of things that happen in it that made me have to ask my parents, can that happen? Does that happen?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Things go further in a lot of it's really, that's what a lot of what this is kind of ride-throughs where things get a little crazier than your
They're
typical
supposed to.
ride. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I had those questions too watching it as an adult. Like, did that happen back then? How much of this is canon?
Yeah, yeah. I now some bigger context for this also the 35th anniversary, because this is also what you walked right into. I'm very fond of the 35th anniversary. Regardless, it's really one, when you're pondering your favorite anniversaries.
It's such a bizarre one to pick. Like, usually, like, wait for 40.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
25 is a classic one to celebrate. 35,
Yeah.
it's like they had the space in the schedule. I mean,
I think it just shows you that they had a lot of money to
I was going to say,
spend
you're
at
at the
this
whim
moment.
of the economic situation.
Yeah.
I think so.
You have the money-
Because
you
there's
have the
been
money to
bigger
splash, yeah.
anniversaries they've ignored, but
Yes.
35, the 1990, they're doing great. The Little Mermaid has just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the,
Parks are
the
hopping.
Renaissance has begun.
Is kicking. Yeah, this is a very confident Walt Disney company. They have Who Framed Roger Rabbit was a huge hit. Little Mermaid was a huge hit. They got 3 parks open in Florida.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
this
right.
is not the era of like we're taking down the mysterious Benedict Society from streaming. This Marvel movie made tons of money, but not enough tons of money. Like this is a very different time.
You're not calling, so this era you don't call the golden era.
The moment we're in now.
Yeah, this year, 2023 has not been.
It's not. Yeah, no. Maybe Elemental will take them out of this mess.
Yeah,
you know?
Bob Iger's
But-
at the launch of the new Apple VR goggles for $3,500. You think Michael Eisner was over at the Virtual Boy launch a couple years later? No way. He was swinging his big dick around and all the new park stuff.
That's right. Getting rides open, getting big stars to
Yeah.
show up for these specials. The thing I was going to say about 35th, Party Gras parade.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They milked the footage of this parade a lot. It's in this special. Very memorable parade with big, tall balloons of the primary characters, all in Mardi Gras mode.
This is the Calypso
Yeah.
montage that we see later. Yeah.
Yes,
And
yeah.
they packed those all up and then eventually shipped them to Florida where they did a different parade.
Oh, right. Rearranged it a little bit. So those
Yeah.
were around. Those were in the company vernacular for a long time. There's some other special where they got the Buster Poindexter in the fold to do Hot,
Hell
Hot,
yeah.
Hot.
Wow.
In 1990, this will be the year of Hot, Hot, Hot. The Hot, Hot, Hot Renaissance. We're going to make it happen. Also, and this shows up in this thing a little bit, or at the very end, they had something called the Dream Machine. Anybody, do you kind of remember the existence of the Dream Machine? Every guest in the park for the 35th anniversary got a prize of some kind. Everyone, it's our birthday, but you're getting the gifts. And I think some of those gifts were sort of cruddy. It could
This
just
was a
be
year-long thing?
Yeah. This whole time, this particular anniversary. But the gifts could be pretty solid. It could be money to use on a Delta Airlines flight. It could be U.S. savings bonds.
Wow.
Like your grandpa might
Interesting.
give you,
Yeah.
but Disney gave it to you. And if you were very, very lucky, you would go and pull a lever on the Disney Dream Machine. And if that really worked out for you, you could win a 1990 Geo. They gave away a car every
Wow.
single day.
Whoa.
Every day, a big red Geo was given
Wow.
away that would rise out of a platform. You know how we've talked about how the partner statue, the statue of Walt, they put in there so that they'd stop like putting gaudy crap in the middle of the park and blocking the castle. And to do this thing, they had to dig into the ground there to make the space for a big platform that would raise a Geo up every single day. They
Wow.
did
I missed this.
I vividly recall, and because I assumed it would have in my head at 5 years old, I'm like, well, all right. So how many people are in Disneyland every day? 100, as much as I can count to. Odds are pretty good. I think we're riding a car. And I also thought we will ride that car off the platform straight down Main Street and and leave our old car to rot.
Or maybe take a quick stop at the Autopia, ride that track.
Sure, yeah.
And then out.
But they gotta let you
show off your stuff and then
Yeah.
Oh yeah, demolish other cars. Those wimpy other cars. Yeah.
Because they're replacing that underground Geo every day.
Yes. That's another thing. Out. Certainly, they did not just use the same car and then give you a thing that says that you get a car somewhere else. In my head, guests are riding new Geos straight through the turnstiles every single day.
Yeah, the brand guy, the Geo guy was like, got to relocate to Anaheim for a year. I'm on a special project. It's pretty cool.
A lot of sales this
A
year.
lot of sales.
Did you pull the lever ever?
No.
Okay.
Because I think only a rare few got to pull the lever.
Were some of the prizes like a 16-ounce bottle of Coca-Cola?
I think that's probably correct.
Okay.
Seems right.
Yeah.
Maybe just a thimble, just a free taste of Coke.
Yeah. Surplus new Coke being passed out.
They had to do something with it.
Yeah.
It was all sitting around. But there's one more thing to say about this special and. Brett, I sent you a still. I just sent one still, and it's this wonderful logo. Do we have the logo with the
moving?
Well, I don't. Well, I don't have that. But here
that
just is
special,
the basic, the 35 years of magic logo. I love this logo.
It's great.
So much. Super 80s, wonderful like dusk gradient. My wife has a sweater that I think she inherited from her grandma that she wears like almost every day. I look at this logo almost every day. And
I'm prepared to say that this would work today. Like this doesn't seem like that dated. Like, it seems there's a classic quality to it.
It gets reissued a lot, like this, and like the 25th anniversary of Disney World, which is mostly just the characters standing around around a big 25.
Tasteful logo, like cool kind, forward-thinking kind of 80s, 90s, rather than like stuck at like kind of gaudy, stuck in an era. That one that we just pulled up, also, I believe that wasn't like a digital asset. That was a picture of like a signpost that because they go up on that auction thing.
Right.
Van Eaton, I like they have them a lot. I keep thinking I'm gonna do it one of these years.
Do you know how much it's going for?
It's too much money for like a. For one thing that was on one sign and is kind of scuffed up. What we just pulled up was kind of scuffed up, but I'd take the scuffs. I love that logo.
Probably get someone to just make it for you.
Yeah, maybe. But don't you have to know that it was there?
Well, that's up to
you.
Like,
it was getting the molecules from performances of Hot. It was like soaking them up. It's in there. The molecules are trapped in there still somewhere.
There's a cost. You do both costs and then see how much it's worth to you that the molecules are in it. That's what I think with some of this stuff.
Well, yeah, free is kind of Well, I'll think about it. I do like those molecules. I want those molecules.
Yeah, okay.
But so anyway, it's a big year. Big logos. Hot's happening. A lot of Geos, and they got to celebrate in a big way. So you got this February 4th, 1990, on NBC. Strangely,
yes, which you forget about that era, but like I think it would be like 5 years later when they merged with ABC.
Yeah,
but like just seeing a Disney thing on NBC with NBC properties, it just like kind of gives you whiplash.
It still feels weird, even though that's how they were doing it for a while. And really, where I like kind of fell in love with these kind of specials and with the Michael Eisner intros and the hellos. I don't know if you know this, Joe. We're so fond of Michael Eisner acting. This is a big deal.
Oh man, what a treat. What an absolute treat.
Yeah.
It's also just crazy that I knew Michael Eisner by name when I was 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
Insane,
what a
right?
weird thing.
Why? Weird. Some CEO, especially, and in this era where like, I'm going to venture to say a lot of these CEOs right now are not particularly well liked.
No,
so it's
sir.
sort of strange that we all grew up with affinity for Michael Eisner as if it was Winnie the Pooh or
I mean, he was trying to be Walt, right? That's why he did it, I think, was because the precedent set by Walt. And he's like, well, I'm Walt now. I'm like, well, I don't know if that's exactly right, but okay.
It's a guy who got booked for this job. You didn't make this place for us, but But the other, like, so this is like right in the era that I love very much, and I recall, I watched one YouTube that was missing some important elements. I'm glad I watched the full one with the commercials.
Yeah.
Because it reminded me of something that I can't believe has not come up in all the time we've been doing this, which is the Magical World of Disney theme.
Yes, I got
This-
that's obviously what my the tape had that full thing in there and had the 90s like a remix of When You Wish Upon a Star.
Right.
So good. I got a clip of this. Brett, could you pull up Magical World of Disney theme? I think this had just like the logo created an aesthetic, like, or at least like influenced me in an aesthetic way. The kind of aesthetics I like and chase. This theme, I feel like, influenced my music taste in a major way. That's bang, and you're shooting past, like, going around the spaceship Earth in this cool way, and
Yeah.
hand claps.
That
Great
elevated
sense.
everything to me. It's like, oh, it's the wonderful world of Disney. Here's the parks. Here's like flying shots through the parks.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, the parks are important. It's on television.
Yeah,
My
right?
third parent, you know?
Yeah.
Is there anything comparable at the moment like that? I know they do the
music
for the
in there.
yeah for the movies they have like a longer intro. They've been doing it for a few years where they really like soar over the hills and you get a little bit of a longer like emotional beat, I guess. But there's nothing as fucking cool as
No
that
way.
shit.
No.
way.
I mean, I did like when that current intro, the like lush CGI worlds with the very much the Disney World castle, but then all these like it's all like rivers and trains going by, which is always cool. But I especially loved it when then you hear a little voice humming the melody, and then in comes the most well rendered cricket. The least creepy cricket you've ever seen, who lowers down. I'm, of course, describing the beginning of Zemeckis' Pinocchio.
Yeah.
We all continue to think about and revere, and it was just so great to see him, land in our world like that.
Sure.
With his face that doesn't look like he was like cut by a knife 20 times, scored on every inch.
Yeah, I was thinking yesterday, I was like, was there a live action Lady and the Tramp in the middle of the lockdown years? And I was
Went
like,
straight to Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. Yeah, some of those live action straight to Disney Plus ones really, giving out psychic damage during a very hard time.
Was Justin Theroux Tramp or something?
That's
I believe
really
that's
funny.
true.
Am I wrong?
At first I was like, was it Dev Patel? But that was a joke I made about the Fox and the Hound.
Oh, that was a hypothetical one.
Yeah, right.
It's hard to remember at this point.
like because it's all folded into these fake ones that I have joked about in the past.
Yeah, where you're like, that's the new Little Mermaid where Aquafina is Scuttle. And
Right.
wait, what do you mean? That happened?
A funny
That is
joke
real?
a few years ago.
There's talk that they said that the Lion King is going to be their Star Wars universe.
Oh my god!
What is?
Yeah, we
what
haven't
are you
talked
talking
about that.
about?
Yeah.
What is that?
They're
Wait,
splintering it all off.
the rumor is that they're
They're
going
gonna do Simba's Pride.
They're going to do it all. Yeah. Everything you'd ever want to see from that one movie. Remember when you saw Lion King and you said, not enough? They're going to do all of it.
So it's just going to become a series of like made for TV limited series.
Every place you want to watch it, it'll be available.
Okay.
Thoreau and Tessa Thompson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I've never seen it. I just knew that.
This is
As arbitrary as any names we could have come up with.
yeah. Just like look, go on the star meter. Look at the top 500.
Pick a random
It's
one.
22 and 492. That's them.
Some of the live action casting, it's like, okay, you can predict it by like who got a profile in Vanity Fair, Esquire.
Lord.
It's just one of the things you get now when you get famous.
Yeah.
You do
Yeah.
SNL,
If
you do
you-
a Disney live action.
Yeah,
and,
if you can
you get a
get
liquor.
a magazine, a multi-page magazine profile that an executive or their assistant will see.
They'll go,
go
who's
like-
this new up and comer?
Well, they could be Bianca and Bernard, surely.
Oh, let's mock up a GQ with you on the cover and just send it to Disney.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Fool
sounds
them.
great.
Yeah, we'll get you in the clothes that Jerry Seinfeld wore in that one photo shoot a couple months ago.
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
The
when he
cool
looked-
jacket.
The cool jacket and
hat.
everything, and like we'll do the
Sneakers.
same poses, and then we'll just send it a couple of copies to Disney.
Yeah,
Right.
And
that
get
was
you
it was a
Bernard.
great spread about this up and comer Jason Sheridan, and I really liked his perfume ad too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the sample smelled wonderful.
Let's get him for Sword in the Stone.
yeah.
Look, me and Beanie Feldstein, we had a great time making live action Rescuers. You know, I just call her Beanie. You know,
Beans.
People don't know
Beans.
this.
Yeah.
I mean beans.
She hates that.
She hates it, but
she kind of likes
she
it
lets
when
me
I
do
do it. Yeah,
she
I
lets
do
me
it.
do it.
So
If I may, just
Yes.
occasionally give a little bit of texture to the tape that I was watching.
oh please,
Yeah.
We got a snippet of a news promo right before this began, and just so you guys know what's happening, Geraldo was spending 24 hours as a condemned man on death row. So that's what was happening on NBC either that week or later that night.
Now you go see what life is like if you were in prison, and then you eat the food and you experience the small spaces. Okay, sure, and then you really are doing it. But if you're on death row, we're lacking one big actual component.
kind of the climax of that experience.
Yeah.
Was he? Did they at least like fool him into thinking he was really going to be executed?
I think these are all questions that were answered in the special. I
Okay,
only got
so
the
I-
promo.
yeah,
sorry.
You want to know
I'll
if he
never
got
know.
the last cigarette and the firing line walks in the room.
Well, I just want to know how committed to the bit Geraldo was.
Does he
If-
order a final meal and just eats it and leaves?
That's the end. He just gets the nicest, like,
a bunch of
the
ice cream
grossest,
and, yeah.
like.
Do they do like the strap him in and the like the
That seems like a
your
very Geraldo thing to
Frankenstein?
do.
Absolutely, it is like
Yeah.
a big showy like Frankenstein's monster version of the electric chair.
Just descending upon his fucking skull.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then
there's
you can
gotta
see
be that. Oh,
how
we gotta find that.
Yeah,
But then all the walls come down, right? Then they flip a switch, but it's just that all the walls come down, and then all his friends and family
like
are
the
there.
surprise.
Just
The Wolf
kidding.
Blitzer scene from Mission Impossible or
Yes.
something.
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
Pulls off his fucking face mask.
I've never
Trump
seen
is there. It's Trump.
I've never seen someone eat a whole Viennetta ice cream cake that quickly.
Gotta have an experience. Gotta have a real experience.
It was so terrifying. You think you're gonna die. Is there one more? Is there a backup around anywhere?
Geraldo was like an original Try guy in a lot of ways.
Wow.
In many ways,
Yeah.
yeah.
Geraldo tries out the Al Capone vault. He tries out death row.
Tries
So-
out getting. Did he get like head butted or stabbed or something? What was the physical thing that
Oh.
happened to him?
Well, I recall Rick Sanchez, I feel like, kind of inherited that role. He was the guy who got waterboarded. Because he was like, waterboarding's
yeah.
like, it's not really torture. And they like do it for like 1 second. He's like, no!
Geraldo tried out being in a foreign battlefield, being in a foreign theater of war while having a gun on him. Do you remember that?
Really?
Oh no,
During-
I don't think I do.
During the Iraq War, they were interviewing him, and he made some weird offhand comment, and they're like, Geraldo, are you armed? And he's like, well, I can't. This is a very complicated place. And it's just like, Geraldo just wanted to brag about like having a handgun on his person.
I don't remember that.
No, me neither. But it sounds great.
But we've talked about him enough now that there'll be a paywalled episode coming soon.
Yeah.
About-
it's probably enough Geraldo.
About Geraldo, yeah.
Bullshit. Yeah. While he's on Baywatch, so that's he's playing
gosh.
a wacky nerd. That's what got
Really?
me into Baywatch initially.
Incredible.
Somebody
oh
let me know
wow!
about that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Was G. Gordon Liddy ever on Baywatch?
What wasn't he on Miami Vice?
Yeah, he's on a lot of shows.
Yeah, he's been on.
Oh,
I
I
love
thought
the
that came
camera.
from nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then also the Pennsylvania lottery number is daily 874 and the big four is 4341. Just that did
Okay.
come up. So.
Thank you. Important.
That brings up like now when my girlfriend and I, when we're like half asleep, we're winding down to sleep, I will often put on YouTube compilations of like, it's one of my favorite genres now, of like 80s 90s commercials. Like, and it's just like 30 minutes or an hour of commercials, but then I will always reach over and like skip skip embedded ads, like skip the YouTube
Yes,
ads.
the current
Yeah.
commercials.
Yeah,
I need to
sure.
watch
Yeah.
the old ones.
I want to watch the old ones. That's lulling me to sleep.
Yes.
But
Yes, I'm watching lots of ads, but not like that.
yeah, I don't need to see the
Not for
Ozempic
real.
ad, you know?
Yeah.
Ads for things I can't buy. So special proper. Here's some other like full wraparound context, and this is going to give away some of who's in it, which certainly we could do the list ourselves. But you gotta. We love our jam-packed special openings where they say a lot of names really quick. Breck, you pull up the clip, 35th special opening, because it is just an assault of celebrities.
Yeah.
A good list.
Sure.
Tonight, Disneyland's throwing a party and you're all invited. Host Tony Danza is all choked up with special guests from the cast of Cheers.
Everybody loves Disney.
Miss Piggy
I wish I could be Cinderella.
and the Muppets.
Know what I mean?
Ernest,
Ernest who?
Charlie Fleischer,
No one has ever gotten wet in my boat.
President Reagan, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, and a whole cast of your favorite Disney characters. It's Disneyland's 35th anniversary celebration.
It's a good lineup. It's a very good lineup.
Eclectic.
Yes, indeed. All over the map, pop culturally. Cheers. As we've said, weird seeing NBC properties and like the biggest NBC property. And getting to hear their thoughts about Disney. Something that
Sure.
probably didn't typically happen on the show.
The supporting cast.
Yeah, we're missing a
Let's
couple.
be clear.
Yeah,
The
that's
leads
true.
are
Yeah,
not
you're
there.
right. You're right. You're right.
Although
Yeah.
they are there for Mickey's 60th, which was 2 years before, and
Yes.
But Danson and Kirstie Alley are not involved here.
Yeah, you mentioned that one when you brought up doing one of these specials. You also brought up Mickey's 60th
Which I also
birthday,
have, yeah.
which you also have with the commercials and all. Aired 2 years prior, similar specials, but same
Yes.
format, like super jam packed. Hop around format wise. We go fully into the world of this sitcom, but then here's a news report, and then here's a bunch of like stuff on film. Both of these are, I think, it's the same DP. Also, these specials are very
That makes
elevated. I think in terms
Yeah.
of their shooting style. And Charlie Fleischer, of course, the other
Yes.
the other
Well,
shared
Roger's
component.
a big part of.
Right.
the Mickeys.
Yeah. So you got to have Charlie in there too. But yeah, Cheers in both of those specials. You get to hear their thoughts about Tony Danza too.
Which is like when Rhea Perlman as Carla references Tony Banta on Taxi, a show that her husband is on, and that she was also on a few episodes as his love interest. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, and kind of weird, like I mean, maybe they were knowingly dancing around that. It's a Tony Danza, a guy who plays a lot of characters named Tony.
Must have been a
Being
fun joke
discussed-
at the time.
Yeah, definitely. But then also that they're talking about this with the confusion is coming from Woody, who is played by Woody Harrelson. So that's another character with the same name.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And he watches Who's the Boss, which is an ABC show, which was
Wait, what?
interesting.
Oh.
So I looked at it, I was
Yeah.
like, that must be another NBC. That must be why they have Tony Danza. But no, it was on
wow,
ABC.
I didn't know that either. I
Yeah.
assumed it was
Oh.
NBC.
Strange. Wow,
Yeah.
they lured him away.
It was a friendly agreement. I didn't realize that. So Taxi ends in 83. Who's the Boss starts in 84 and
Am I right?
goes, I think, until 92, and was very, very successful. So like, this is a big get. You get most of the Cheers cast, and you get the star of Who's the Boss on this anniversary special.
Yes.
Who's consistently been on TV for 12 years at this point.
Yes.
But it still feels to me, I'm like, yeah, Tony Danza almost feels like a punchline a little bit now.
Absolutely.
Or like that getting him doesn't seem like it should be so crazy. But I found an interview with the director of the special. I'll put a pin in that.
That is a Shyamalan-like twist for me at the end of the
I
special.
jumped out of my chair when I
saw
saw
who directed this.
Yeah.
I screamed out loud.
Yeah, rightfully so. But no, the director said he was a little bit like when they called him in to do it, like, and we got Tony Danza, and he's like, so, and they're like, Tony Danza, that's a big deal. He's on the biggest show. He has the highest Q rating. That old that outmoded thing of like who's the most known likable person on television. So the director is baffled. Who knew Tony Danza was such a big name? Also says he only had him for 8 hours on one day. And that's how they shot all of that in that amount of time, which when you think like they hop around with him, there's the whole Jungle Cruise bit, which is very involved. Said he was nice and extremely professional. But
that kind of makes sense given that he's credited as the host and he's really not that present throughout a lot of this.
He shows up a lot later than you'd assume too.
He doesn't really do any hosting duties for what feels like at 30 minutes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you lose him for a while. The whole beginning has nothing
to do with him.
They're
for him, and then they find him, and then like
they
so
wrote it
where
into
is he?
him being gone.
Right.
Yeah, they knew the
rise.
time was late. Yeah. But so we get a bunch of stuff on the Cheers set.
It's the framing device.
Yeah. That's true. It ends up being the rapper ads. It comes around at all of this.
They are going to interrupt mud wrestling, which seems like a racy thing
Very
for
strange
a
choice.
children's, family special, really, so that they can watch the Disney special.
Yeah. Wow. So everything you're watching is in the Cheers universe.
Specifically, like our first cutaway, which is, I guess, arguable if it's Cheers canon, but it's about Woody as a boy.
Yeah.
I think it has to be.
I think it has to be too.
Even though it's filmed totally different with I can't imagine you ever saw young Woody again. This and I'm sure we've talked about it before. Maybe it's come up on every year of our Haunted Mansion. I don't know. I love to talk about this thing. It's so great that Woody has a lot of confused Disneyland memories that everybody's correcting him on. But there's one that is crystal clear in his head, and it's this special time that he went on the Haunted Mansion. And he was very scared to go on the Haunted Mansion. First of all, just the shocker of flashback in Cheers studio camera world.
Yes, you're in the Cheers mode.
Yeah.
And
then you
because
go...
it's directed as Jason was saying. This is Jim Burrows directed this. It's on the set. This is identical to what you would see watching Cheers.
Yes, yeah. Well, as we were saying before, in terms of the stacked lineup of this, Jim Burrows part of it. But before we started recording, Jason said this news to us and said, I was watching the credits and I was like, oh my God.
Well,
you are the biggest.
As both directors, but I included James Burrows in that.
The oh my God was specifically for James Burrows. I remember specifically.
Well, just because it was kind of strange where it's like 80% of the cast and Bill Prady, one of the main writers, wrote that sketch. The wraparound sketch.
Or you mean for that's the Muppets
Cheers.
thing.
Bill Prady wrote the Muppets section.
Yeah.
Because he was a
wrote the Muppets
he was a
thing.
Muppets writer at the time.
Yeah.
He didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
They don't have any credited cheer, like for some of this, for the Ernest segment and for the Muppet segment, they in the credits say Ernest writers wrote the Ernest. Muppets writer Bill Prady wrote the Muppets thing, but they don't say that for Cheers, which makes me wonder if it was just whoever wrote the special wrote this.
It might have been same writers as that 60th birthday. Also,
2 sets of writers, and I did look them up to see what they were about.
None from Cheers.
One is they're both husband and wife teams. Interestingly enough, one is the people who did the Mickey special 2 years before.
Yeah,
and they, fittingly enough, made a name for themselves by packaging commercials and airing them as specials in primetime.
Oh, okay.
We're talking a lot about commercials, but like that's like one of their big things.
Oh, sure.
It's like Joy Albrecht and Scott Guerin, very close to your name.
Yeah, almost.
And I actually think Scott Guerin maybe directed the Mickey special 2 years before.
Oh, okay, yeah, and did not direct this
one,
and I know why, but I'll also put a pin in that.
Put a pin in that, and then the other group of writers came out of. Do you guys know about Almost Live, the Seattle-based sketch show that aired locally before SNL? It's most notable because its alumni list includes Bill Nye and Joel McHale.
Oh,
okay.
And
that sounds familiar, but I don't know anything past.
Yeah, it's a thing where you're like, oh, okay, I've never seen it, and I think in Seattle, it's like, oh yeah, Almost Live. Like people who grew up with it were like, it's on before SNL, so of course I watched it, and it was Joe and Nancy Guppy, and they're both still in Seattle. They wrote for Not Necessarily the News.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
all right.
A lot of people came out of that.
So there was a period of time when they were in LA trying to make it happen, and I think it was when this happened as well.
That's some of that Disney dough. But okay, so yeah, we flash back to young Woody. His friends are making fun of him for not wanting to go on the ride, but then he gets some comfort and like a ride buddy in the form of this girl who is spoiler, pretty ghostly from the beginning.
Appears out of nowhere.
In perfect pink dress, and comes from nowhere. Why him specifically, I don't know, but but he's happy because he's got a female companion. That's good, and you then just get to go on this very charming Haunted Mansion ride. That typifies what I like about the special so much. If we're gonna pay tribute to Disney in a real way, or to Disneyland in a real way, to like film and preserve the classic rides really well, shot in an elevated way than specials would usually do it. And I like that it's kind of no frills a little bit. They like there's jokes and gags with everybody, but you also just get to see like singing busts and somebody lifting the lid of the coffin with just filmed very nicely.
You get to see him in more clear ways than when you're on the ride even.
Yes, true. Yeah.
Long, sometimes you want to see certain things, and the card turns.
Linger. It's nice lighting. It's a nice close up. Yeah, exactly.
And there's a little extra fog machine.
Pump
in a lot of it.
Definitely.
And it was also there's a shot where Woody and the Ghost Girl are dancing in the Grand Hall. Like next to the ghost.
They before the big reveal, they poof out of their seats and are on the floor with the ghost dancing.
Yeah. So the reveal,
but you don't know anything's up, I guess, at that point. You're not supposed to.
Yes, she has the ability to puff somewhere else and bring another person with her, but who knows? I don't know what's up with this girl.
Still a lot of questions.
She's also rude.
She's a smart aleck, for sure.
She calls Charlie ugly, I think.
Oh,
she
that's
says
right.
like tall, dark, and ugly.
Tall, dark, and ugly. Yeah, she's got some sass to her.
Yeah.
Oh, we forgot that. This is the kind of the runner of the special is that Charlie Fleischer plays
the only employee.
Yes. Very surly employee at that.
With always with different accents,
the voice affectations. This one is Vincent Price.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. But good performance as creepy Haunted Mansion person. You get to you see like somebody trying to get out of the coffin, and they say Woody,
and then you remember, oh yeah, this is supposed to be Woody Boyd from Cheers.
Yeah,
because I fully forgot him.
Yes,
completely.
This is the character Woody that you know from working at a bar in Boston, but this is him years prior. So I guess it's the 70s, seemingly. There's nothing that really negates it being the 70s, but it doesn't feel super 70s either. But yes, the whole time, and it's a ghost girl, and also it's Woody from Cheers. It's so strange.
Yeah. The character full name, by the way, Woodrow Huckleberry Tiberius Boyd.
Thank you.
That's nice.
That's a solid sitcom joke. Where it's just like, oh, that character named like Jack or something has an insane name.
Tiberius probably references Star Trek, right? Isn't that
James Tiberius Kirk?
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And then,
but also there's long stretches of the ride without anybody talking. They just like let the ride just kind of do its thing, which makes me wonder what is Woody is describing. He's just describing the ride because all of this is a story that he's telling.
Oh, that's right. Then you come back and like they say like, well, what a beautiful story. So like. And then you'll never get it. Then we went by these four.
We're in an Omnimover that Bob Gurr built. And then the Omnimover rotated to this point in the ride where there was an effect cap. Like he's really specific about.
It's kind of like you're the camera. Like you're the view. They can point you what they want you to see.
Yeah, Walt faced every which way.
Walt's philosophy was not actually one point of watching. You saw things that were all around you, and you'd have a different experience each time you went on.
Added to re-rideability. Norm, Cliff, you're falling asleep. What are you doing? Come on. Also, we haven't mentioned yet, in the Cheers scene, Maris is
No,
there?
Lilith.
No,
Lilith.
Lilith.
Yeah.
That's
as
it.
played by Bebe Neuwirth.
Maris, you never see.
That's
Nurse
Niles'
Niles'
wife from
wife.
Frasier.
Okay.
Yeah. So then, so they're showing really all the big parts of the ride that we know, and then of course you got to go out on the grand finale, the fat lady. What is this? Why does this happen? I've never noticed that statue. That's never been
right.
But it's presented like the climax that the girl says it's not over till the fat lady sings, and Woody says who, and then it shows this statue or this animatronic that I've never thought about before.
The opera singer
is there.
She's in the back somewhere.
Yeah, that's the is that the official name? Well, we'll get to that. Will we get to this person this year?
This
or not?
year?
I don't know.
2023. We'll have to wait and see.
Jason turned into a little ghost boy there.
Yeah, it's real ghost boy energy.
Mischievous ghost boy energy.
But just a strange. You don't get hitchhiking ghosts. You don't get.
Right.
Suddenly, it's the climax is this character who, yes, isn't it kind of background?
Yes, no, I know. When she said that, I go, oh yeah, I guess because there's I've talked about this, and I don't want to turn into Haunted Mansion, but I feel like they can brighten some of these ghosts up because a lot's going on in that Haunted Mansion graveyard, but you can't see it, and sometimes you go, oh wow, there's a game going on or something between two ghosts back there, but I can barely make it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is another one where it's like that's a weird pull. I guess
nice to
just
get a
because of the
close-up
phrase.
an
The
insulting close up.
The
Yeah.
public domain joke that they wanted to use.
Right. Yeah.
Didn't have to pay any husband-wife writer teams for that.
Yeah, a lot of opera-based jokes back in the golden age of sitcoms.
That's true, yeah.
So then it's a nice ride, and he made it through, and then they share like a moment, but then she disappears, and then the friends are there again. And I feel like I presented this once out of context on Twitter, which if you take it out of context is really funny. That well, if you don't know the information, you're watching a kid talking to his friends, and then he turns and looks and sees a girl and waves fondly, and then the girl disappears, and then he keeps looking and rubs her ribbon on his face, and then it fades to Woody from Cheers on the set of Cheers, and everyone from Cheers is there. Like if you turned on the TV, if you were late, if you put this on 6 minutes in, and then like, wait, huh? This was all within Cheers.
Oh, yeah. I would say there's several moments within this special where if you tuned in, not at the beginning,
yeah,
you'd be
yeah.
like, what is happening in America?
Why is Charles Fleischer firing a gun a lot?
Indeed. But a fun sequence, a good sequence. I also want to note that I didn't catch it till watching it a second time, that when Kelsey Grammer says, yes, Disneyland is a magical place, I realized, wait a minute, he was part of a Disneyland anniversary. Just 15 years later,
Oh, yeah.
he would be on a stage talking about being a UN interpreter for It's a Small... Oh, dear Lord.
Dear God.
That was only 15. Here he is, like, being just a peripheral part of a Disneyland anniversary. Probably, if it occurred to him, you know what, I should try to... expand my... I should be the host of the next one is what I'm calling Disney now. I'm going to get ahead of it on the 50th. Sure, it'll be wonderful and not perilous.
Mm-hmm. The Falling, you've seen this clip.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
many times.
Yeah.
It's
Wait,
important.
have you
It's
seen
important.
an American flag? And then certainly you've seen...
Another hallmark of this great nation.
It's one of the finest things we've ever produced.
Did we talk on the show? I think Jane explained it to me because I think one of her friends might have been there or like worked that theater before, but that stage is not totally flat. There's a lot of divots. There's a lot of cutouts for effects and stuff rising in and out of the ground.
It was a weird jagged shape is why it happened.
Yeah, he should not have moved so much because it was an insane
So you're blaming
stage.
Kelsey. Jason
Yeah.
officially
No.
puts the blame on Kelsey
No,
Grammer for the...
He should have known
You
better.
heard it here first.
I'm
He was
blaming
asking for it.
whoever's
Stay still.
like
the
who
director.
told him to go up there and
Yeah.
just
Well,
wander around.
Any actor worth his salt knows that you go and you see the show of what the theater you're performing in is before, to know the layout, to know that when at the end Genie turns Jafar into the Genie Jafar and shoots out of that area where he was going to walk. And then he would have known that there was a hole in that part or whatever you're saying. There's a curve.
Genie pops out, makes a joke about like the Scion hamsters, and goes about his day.
The what?
Remember the giant CG creatures in those cars?
No.
Joe, do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
This wasn't. Sorry, you're not. This isn't the dragon who does the weather on the news.
No, I was trying to think of a topical thing that he might have said that was like really big at the time.
Snooki. You should have just said Snooki.
I guess I should have just said Snooki, but we said Snooki so much.
I do. Wait, it's not Scion. It's Kia.
It's Kia.
Mm-hmm.
No, now you all remember.
I don't know that would have
now
helped
you
me.
all remember.
I see. I know what. I know.
The Kia
I
gerbils?
vaguely know what they are.
I got I'm off today. I got my Maris wrong. I got my Kia wrong.
Oh yeah.
Right? There's just this special is so action packed. It's a lot to keep.
Heads going every which way.
Plates spinning, balls in the air. You know.
Okay, where we move after this,
We see our Eisner for the first time.
Yes. Yeah.
The Cheers cast then turns on the special.
This isn't in every version. This is in the expanded cut. I didn't realize.
interesting.
Yeah.
So
they turn back to the TV after
They're like,
this ghost story.
Let's watch the special, and then good thing they didn't turn it on 2 minutes earlier. They would have seen themselves and
and
screamed.
it would have like mirror and a mirror and a mirror
exploded.
Multiverse collapse. Yeah.
But yeah, they turn on the TV, and then Eisner is like, "We'll have more after the break," and he maybe says some names. Anytime they say the list of names is very funny.
Yeah, and he gets like winded. They give him that like DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Prince and more.
Miss Piggy.
President Reagan, and they make a big deal of President Reagan, which is the next big thing, which is really just that they filmed a speech of his, and then it was a big deal that he came back since he was the host of the opening special.
Can I do my quick commercial break of?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's check.
We had I don't know if you guys remember the Reach toothbrush commercial with the drawn like Ziggy like character who opens his mouth 180 degrees and then brushes his teeth like it's a straight line. That one has stuck with me because it was horrifying. Just a guy opening his mouth like Pac-Man and then it going all the way around.
Oh god.
Because Reach can get back there, Then there's a Diet Coke commercial that's an Indiana Jones homage, but you don't know why, and it's a to be continued. And so
yeah, 2-part commercial.
Yeah. And then Alf and the Hogan family have new episodes this week. And then in the Hogan family, Jason Bateman's hitting on Lisa Rinna.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Interesting pair. Wow. Both still relevant to this day.
Very much so. And very short commercial break, though, the first one. That was it.
Oh, yeah. They were shorter in general back then.
Yes.
You can really feel that in this. So you come back with Reagan quick speech, and this led to... This might lead right into finally to talking about the director for a minute.
They do bring Reagan out to Yankee Doodle Dandy, which I thought was very unpresidential and maybe a little bit mean, but
couldn't clear the Star Spangled Banner or Hail to the Chief. This is a quote from the director. All this info is from Filmmaker magazine from an interview. I hated him. Reagan gave a speech at Disneyland and we just shot it. We used very little of it in the special. Didn't like Reagan as many people don't. The director, who is this phantom director?
Do we reveal it this early, or do we reveal it when we all learn who it is?
I knew it going in. I will say I knew it going in. I might say doing it sooner or later because I have stories to pepper in. From this interview, which was kind of interesting. This is directed. Anyone want to do the honors? Or did anyone feel not cursed to say his name?
Yeah, I'm worried like Beetlejuice if I say it so many times. But
well, if he shows up, it's okay. It's the kid I'm worried about.
Well, this guy is also
Beetlejuice Jr. Has done some bad thing beyond canceled. John Landis is the director of this special.
Shocked me.
Yeah,
Truly shocked me.
Huge. I feel like it kind of let me know why this thing was elevated, why it does feel very filmic and kind of advanced beyond more just like TV-ish stuff that they'd done. Good director, great father, but good director.
To some, certain actors didn't make it out.
Oh sure, yes, a lot of those movies, not the best. But that's what he's saying about Reagan is like the interviewer is like, felt weird that you would do something with Reagan because I thought a lot of your movies like Animal House were very like anti or wait, this thing said Spies Like Us was a very anti-Reagan movie.
Who could forget?
Guess so. Yeah. But anyway, Yeah, John Landis. Here's why it's John Landis. I did find this pretty fascinating. That okay, so the Muppets are part of this. We know this. Jim Henson had committed the Muppets to be on the 35th anniversary show. Disney made a deal with an outside production company to make the specials. It must be some of these people who made that last one. So Henson goes down to Anaheim 10 days before the show with the Muppet performers to see what's going on, and he is, quote, appalled at what they had planned. Jim thought it was amateurish, but it's all ready to go. They're shooting it really soon. The talent is already signed. We got Danza. We can't go backwards now. So Jim knows Landis, knows he's a big Disney freak, as Landis says himself. So Jim Henson calls and says, do you want to shoot a show in Disneyland? It's the 35th anniversary special. It's shooting in 5 days.
Wow.
Yeah. So he only had 5 days to do all of this. And it's what we have described as being a pretty high-end special. I mean, some of it was in motion without him. But yeah, he only got a 5-day heads up on this thing at Jim Henson's request.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, interesting. So to do, I guess presumably, please save this. I don't know what was going to be going on.
That's what I want to know. What did it look like
How
before?
different could it have been?
I don't know. Yeah.
I bet that Scott Garrett guy was going to direct it, though.
I think so, yeah, because if all the other credits are the same and he did the previous one, was probably going to do this, and then Jim Henson had said no.
Henson gets you booted from a job?
Yeah, personally fired.
Boy, what does that even look like? The night, like Mr. Nice.
Yeah, and also apparently this period of time where Disney is interested in acquiring the Muppets is like a very fraught time for Jim.
Oh, right.
And
so maybe stressed out and maybe like a perfectionist in this.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to do some Disney crap. That's like what he's worried about.
And not unlike Ted Danson and Kirstie Alley's absence later, there's no Henson characters from the Muppets.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's Oz and
Goals.
Goals. All right. I was worried I was going to go for a terrible pronunciation, but it is
or
Goals.
Gells, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, could be. So anyway, really last minute on Landis's part, he seemed pretty delighted by all of this, by getting to do stuff in the parks. He also, not long after, did Beverly Hills Cop 3, which is this big theme park romp, also shows his super fandom. So I think his love of it definitely is clear in this. And I think it's probably just good that Disneyland doesn't have a helicopter ride.
Jesus Christ.
No, that swooping Wonderful World of Disney, they were like, it's already shot. It's already done. Okay? We got it on tape. We got it on a digibeta. Okay? So we'll just cut it in. Okay? You don't have to do that one.
You'll see it. We got somebody, Scott Guerin's doing that one. Okay, so now we've established director. Let's see a little bit of Eisner, because he said, Landis said, I got to direct a scene with Eisner and Tony Danza and Goofy. And this is what happens right before that. And I love, we love our straight-to-camera Eisner addresses, but this I love because it's like a little scene.
Yeah, this
scene
might be my favorite in the whole special. I rewatched this so many times.
This is a little scene between 3 non-actors. And 2 of them, I don't think fancy themselves actors, but one of them does. And some flat deliveries here. I am excited. Here we go.
Hi, folks. How are you today?
Fine.
Oh, you didn't happen to see Tony Danza, did you?
No.
Ever been to Disneyland before?
Oh, yes.
In fact, I have a snapshot of our first visit. Christine Graff and Michael Schwartner. You were the first guest 35 years ago on this very spot. Now that is impressive.
Christine Graff and Michael Schwartner.
Christine Graff and Michael Schwartner.
Michael Schwartner.
Only way to elevate that scene is if Michael Eisner recreated the pose that Walt was in with the 2 kids. Arm around the lady and shaking the hand of the guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he should have made them get on their knees.
Yeah.
You look little.
Let's recreate the pose.
No, we don't have knee pads.
All right, fine. You don't want to bend down. I'll get on this apple box.
I looked these people up.
Oh, really? I don't know anything about these people. That's an interesting. The first people and the first kids in Disneyland.
Apparently, so it's also funny to think 35 years ago. And you look at those 2 now, they are 40 and 42 years old. I mean, with all due respect, they look, everybody in the 90s kind of, a 40-year-old looked like he was 60,
Yeah,
that's true, yeah.
Yes.
Like the Berenstain Bears.
Yeah,
it's
these
are like
thematically
real life
appropriate.
Berenstains.
But I looked them up, and they're cousins. And it would
and they're married.
They really, when you see them, they're like, that is a married couple.
That's
but
what I
then
thought
when you're
too,
like,
I
oh,
know.
if they were at Disneyland when they were like 5 and 7, like that doesn't make any sense.
Oh wait, yeah. Wait. Why did I think they were married when they came out?
If they were at Disneyland together as children, it would not make any sense.
They were arranged to be married.
Yeah,
their 50s parents.
Their cousins. The story was that the little Michael had heard that Disneyland was opening, and they were taking a family trip to Mexico, and it was like a stop along the way, and they stopped, and the little girl like fell and scraped her knee and was like making a lot of noise, and then that kind of got the attention of some officials who were around and came up and they're like, "Are you okay? It's okay." And like these kids are cute, and they were like, "You know what? Why don't you guys come with me?" And they're just like playing around. Everybody's waiting to go in, and then they brought them in. And, did the photo op and stuff. And these are the first two people in Disneyland. And they both got lifetime passes to Disneyland.
Wow. Whoa.
Which they described as just like, you get like a new annual pass every year.
Oh, okay. There's not some like piece of paper they have to
I wish there
preserve.
was like a medallion or something, but no, it's just they got a bunch of annual passes and re-upped them every year.
Wow. Wow.
I wonder if they got blockout dates or anything at this point.
Yeah, what are the yeah, they might be. They have to
Did they
negotiate
start, like,
with
just
Schwartner
Throwing their
every
weight
year.
around like, do you
Yeah.
understand who I am? Excuse me. Do you understand who I am? Hey,
Yeah,
Michael, I'm Michael Schwartner.
Oh yeah, we're the first people in Disneyland. Wow, that's all fascinating.
And this also comes after the Calypso montage, which just shows like the construction of Disneyland, and a bunch of people who've been to Disneyland throughout the years, including Michael Jackson, Harry Truman, Dwight Eisenhower, RFK, and JFK.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Odd
I had a moment where I was like, was that Harry Truman?
It's like, does that make? Yeah, you know what? That checks out.
It does
Yeah.
add up.
Was he still? I don't think he was still the president, but he had been the president.
He had been the president fairly recently.
yeah.
This seems like this is an angle they used to work that I feel like they don't as much anymore. That they would say like, why presidents have been here. Because now I think Disney's fine whether or not you know that presidents have been
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
They might have been here. We don't know.
Probably at some point.
We don't track it anymore.
I think there were some foreign heads of state in that montage, and I could not place them.
Yeah, that was my experience as well. So I was like, they're showing this white man. I don't know who he is. And it's like, oh, and then they end with like George H.W. Bush, the current.
He's in the
president.
parade.
Yes.
Waving.
Oh yeah,
right?
kind of like pointing aggressively. I don't
Yeah.
know, the 1,000 points. He's getting his points done.
Yeah.
I'll do 100 right here and now. Then we head into some Danza stuff. I don't have the Eisner Danza clip.
But thank God Goofy found him.
Yeah. He comes out and helps. He shoos away Schwartner and everybody.
Yeah.
Finds Eisner, found Tony. He's in the Jungle Cruise line. Danza starts. There's a little exchange. Eisner's annoyed by Danza liking the park and the rides.
And they give Danza the equivalent of exposition. He's like, I've been on Space Mountain, Thunder Mountain Railroad. I've been on. He just like lists a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I've been on every ride where we didn't film stuff.
Yep.
No, every ride with no sketch.
He also says Jungle Cruise.
Jungle
Cruise.
Really emphasizes the cruise part.
Brett, can we play the clip? Danza. I really like this. All the pronunciation.
This place called Disneyland has come to symbolize more than just a locale of mere amusement.
Hey, Tony, it's your turn.
Oh, gotta go, folks. It's Jungle Cruise time. All right. All right, thanks, Goof. Okay. All right.
All right. Was that a catchphrase? Is that something he said?
I really don't think so.
Were there all right shirts in the late 80s? Jungle Cruise.
It could have been Taxi. It could have been Who's the Boss. Like, it's just general Italian
I don't know Who's the
guy
Boss as well as
vibe.
Taxi.
Like fun-loving, yeah.
I rewatched some of the early Taxi episodes recently, and you watching it, you're like, oh, Rocky had just come out. Stallone was a guy. And they're like, let's have a Stallone in here, and that's how Tony...
Because he's a real boxer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So yeah, it is Jungle Cruise time. All right. And this is a pretty successful sequence, I think. If the idea of the special is we lovingly pay tribute to the rides and shoot them nice and do the basics of the ride, but then elevate it to like experiences that couldn't usually happen. That's really what happens here, because when that guide shows up, it's not some regular guide. It's crazy Charlie Fleischer.
This time it's Charlie Fleischer doing a little different voice, okay?
A very unique voice, singular to... Is this a good time to talk about what's up with Charlie Fleischer?
Absolutely.
What's going on? Has everybody like gotten a vibe, essentially? At some point in your life, have you thought, why don't we hear from Charles Fleischer more? And do we know the answer?
I mean, like it's clearly the afterglow of Roger Rabbit still, like a thing that helped, one of the first things to help revitalize Disney out of their kind of valley, their low point. And so I don't know if they feel like they owe Charles Fleischer something. If you watch a special, you're like, what fucking stranglehold grip did he have on Disney? Because he's the true host of this thing. Like he has the most lines by far. He's in every segment.
Yeah. Shows his range.
In the Jungle Cruise segment, I don't think Tony Danza says like a word.
Yeah, or just like
reactions.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Or just like kind of looking around. It's a lot of but yeah, they give him a lot of stuff. And I don't know. I think Charles Fleischer has a reputation as a difficult weird man.
I think so. I feel like I don't know what I'm basing that on.
I don't want to say that and it not be true.
Yeah.
Just like he got a raw deal.
It feels like, I mean, at the Oscars, I don't know if it was this year, maybe it was post Roger Rabbit, it was 89. There was a like tribute to cartoons, and it's presented by Robin Williams and Charles Fleischer, and they're presented as like equals, right? And they have kind of the same energy. It's 1,000 voices, and they just riff, and that bit is like 12 minutes long. It's crazy, but you could you kind of feel the audience reeling from Fleischer a little more. Maybe there just wasn't room in this town for the both of them. Maybe vibe. Robin just completely took that mantle.
There's a vibe.
Yeah.
And maybe that's all it is. Maybe that's all I have to say. Now, DM us some information's out there, but it's a vibe, I feel like.
All of his cast member characters are a little surly, like a little like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Kind of. I also didn't realize that when I was looking him up, how many voices he is in. He's not just Roger Rabbit.
He's like, he's a weasel or two. And
well, is he the baby or
he's the baby too. Yeah.
Is he really?
Is he all of them? I think he is. Yeah, I think he's the cab too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, right. Oh, totally forgot.
Yeah, so yeah, it's interesting because you would think, he exploded after this, but it sort of was Roger. And then little things.
And then they stopped using Roger. Why did they stop using Roger? Was there a vibe? It was just a vibe.
There might be a vibe with Roger.
I feel like it was once they really started going with the Disney animated features, it was like, that's the new canon for us.
Yeah.
And Roger was kind of like before that and isn't as squeaky clean as the rest of them.
Other people are involved in it. Spielberg,
right. They don't fully own it.
Roger was one of the guys though back then. During this year, he was one of the big six.
He was in. He was
the seven
considered in like the big ones. Yeah. Fleischer was Roger Rabbit, Benny the Cab, Greasy, and Psycho.
Not the baby.
He wasn't
not
the baby.
Who's
the baby? Huh. But so this sequence is a lot of fun. And
Lou Hirsch.
Hirsch.
He doesn't have a picture on IMDb, so
someone without a picture was this famous character. Wow, weird.
That's a good name for that voice too.
Yeah. Sounds like a Lou Hirsch. Yeah.
You know him as Fred from Superman 3.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Baby Herman, who almost had his own MGM Studios ride and Disneyland ride.
Yeah.
Maybe Lou demanded too much. This is where Louis cashes in.
Yeah.
$1 billion bucks. All right, doing it. So this gets nuts pretty fast.
People are dropping like flies.
Yeah, everyone. It's just that like all of the Jungle Cruise gags happen, but they are more harsh. Starting with somebody just going into the water and then getting eaten by by one of the crocodiles.
Sure, yeah.
Somebody's eaten right away, and then other people just are weirdly getting into the water. We don't know what happens to them.
Yeah, that at first is a trick from Charles Fleischer, because he goes, "Why don't you go pet that crocodile on the schnozzola?" And then the guy just kind of falls in, but it escalates to full on murder by the end.
He's doing nothing to stop. Just then arrows are being thrown every possible way on the Jungle Cruise. People could die.
And you guys would say that some of these jokes have to be jokes from the Jungle Cruise, right?
Some are.
The gags.
There are some classic.
Yeah.
I feel like he throws away the more classic ones.
Okay.
And he's you know what I mean? Did you feel that at all? That he doesn't do
The
like
backside of water stuff.
Yeah. He kind of
Yeah.
like maybe he was more focused on like getting his own shit in there.
I think he was trying to get his shit in. Yeah.
This in Haunted Mansion, it's like, okay, we're going to play the reality of the ride and really heighten it. So Jungle Cruise, the kind of flippant danger, this segment's going to have a body count, okay?
Yeah, well, Scott was just real quick to go back. Maybe the Fleischer thing is like, he needs generate his own material, and that's difficult when you're on a shoot that's only got a limited amount of time.
Yeah, they lose Tony. We lose Tony at 5.
Right, and he wants to do all his jokes, and they're like, we got jokes from the ride. They've been doing them for decades.
Yeah, they work, baby.
Yeah.
All right, shoot Tony out, get him in front of Splash Mountain, and he's got to be back at the castle by nightfall.
And then we'll run 50 times the boat around so Charles can do all his ad-libs.
Yeah, to get Charles' angle. Yeah.
Several more days. Landis was long gone. I like that when there's the hippo like intimidation part that it is just him shooting the hippo,
pulls out a gun.
Which there's always that. I was confused about this for a long time, but it is supposed to be that you were scaring the hippo with the gun.
Yeah, you're not supposed
to shooting the hippo in the face.
Right.
So the gun is a part of the Jungle Cruise ride.
It is.
The captain does pull out a gun.
Yes.
Just this is different because it's fired.
Well, back in the day, they used to point it at the animal.
It is always fired.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think I did think for a long time it's really weird that they shoot the hippos. But that's not what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they didn't, again, Charlie went off script in a lot of ways. Off script in that way.
No,
I
think
shoots.
That was the canon. For a while, they would shoot at the animals to like scare them away. And then eventually they start shooting in the air.
Oh, so it was supposed to be that they're shooting a bullet near the hippos.
I don't know, near or like, it's a big hippo, a little 38 in the cheek isn't going to kill it. Like, I don't know the justification.
Or like knock a tooth out like it's a carnival game.
There would be no reason to shoot at it if you're not going to hit it.
Yeah.
Versus just shooting in the air.
If it's just the sound that's supposed to scare them.
Right.
Huh. Wow, I'm curious. I would like to know, one of the things we've never covered on this show is the Jungle Cruise. We've covered Chris Gaines and the Late Shift. But we've never done the Jungle Cruise.
You know what's funny about it is this is maybe blasphemous. I don't care about the Jungle Cruise that much.
I don't really either.
I like the other ones we haven't done.
I gotta get to the
other ones we've done.
Don't like this.
Joe's crying. Joe is sobbing at that statement.
Well, the thing is, the classic Jungle Cruise as we know it is gone, right?
No.
Oh, I thought they updated it for the movie, but
no,
that never.
There
came
were
to pass.
rumors.
So
There were rumors.
there
Okay,
were
got
possibilities.
it.
Of
Well,
it,
that's
but
good.
There were various updates, like some of the more culturally sensitive things that I don't think I've been since. I don't think I've seen how they changed it. But yeah, no, The Rock is not there's no Emily Blunt animatronic.
All that to say is that the ones we haven't done, I think we're like, oh yeah, man, we're gonna really psych ourselves up for this. I think Jungle Cruise hasn't come up because we're not that interested in it.
I like it okay.
Well, that's what an endorsement for one of the
Yeah.
classic Disney rides.
It's a
Jungle
ringing.
Cruise,
It's
boy.
like the bell. It's a ringing
I'll
endorsement.
go on it. We'll go down there tonight. I'll go on it. I'm not saying I hate it or anything. I just think it's funny because that's the big classic one we haven't done in 6 years that I think has really just been not done because we're like, meh.
I admit I'm impressed that you're willing to vocalize.
People are gonna be mad
but
at
yes,
me.
This is exactly what's been silently in my head this whole time.
I always like when I get a really good, really into it host. Like I had a host in Florida a couple of years ago who talked so fast.
I've had great Jungle Cruise skippers.
Yeah, I really like the Jingle Cruise with the really forced Christmas jokes.
I like it too.
Yeah.
But ultimately, overall, I don't spend much time thinking about it.
Wow, hot take.
Maybe that changes today. Charlie Fleischer will
now that
reinvigorate
Charlie
your love.
Fleischer,
The Jungle Cruise.
I don't know.
Well, it sets the bar so high because usually there's not a part where a snake strangles one of the guests.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe this speaks to even Landis is like, we gotta jazz this up. We gotta do something. I'll cut that out. I'll cut that out of the episode. Okay. So Big Jump pulled for edit, and then I will say that then the solution to the snake problem is also just shooting at the snake. Mm-hmm. The snake, which is wrapped around America's sweetheart Tony Danza. Mm-hmm. I mean, he must have been confident in his aim, or collateral damage.
Sure.
Yeah. If I hit Tony Danza, I do.
If Tony's gone, who's stepping in as host? It's probably Charles Fleischer.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
true. Next in line.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be crude, but
he loaded it. He brought real bullets for this. He was hoping it happened. So that's all fun. Then we
get another great throw to commercial where he gets the list. He lists the names. I just love Tony Danza being like, coming up next, Miss Piggy, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, the Three Little Pigs, Ernest, C-3PO and R2-D2, the Great Gonzo, Cinderella, and much more.
We grew up in such a fun time. What a time.
Really special.
There was so much for us, and yet there was a lot of adult stuff because they still forgot to make enough kids stuff. So there's adult stuff mixed up with kids stuff. It's all so confusing and funny and silly.
Here's my commercial rundown.
Oh, yes.
Continuation of the Indiana Jones Diet Coke commercial. This time you learn that you can save up to $5 on the VHS of Last Crusade. So that's why they were doing that.
Also, the woman's kitchen splits in half.
This
is one of the most high production value commercials I've ever seen.
Indy
saves her and then tosses her entire body. He throws a woman, and you're like, Jesus, until you realize it was to save her because her own kitchen door is lowering
into hell.
Temple doors. Yeah.
There's a Static Cling commercial for Snuggle dryer sheets with the classic Snuggle Bear. The technology is not great at this stage of Snuggle Bear. Sometimes it really just feels like they're shaking a stuffed toy into the camera. You get dogs marching army style, singing kibbles and bits and bits and bits. There's a McDonald's coffee commercial about how it always tastes fresh. This would be 2 years before a woman would be hospitalized for McDonald's coffee being scalding hot and sending her.
It tastes fresh because the freshest temperature is 1,000 degrees.
Introducing new Coffee Mate liquid non-dairy creamer in your grocer's dairy case. Which is an interesting turn of phrase that could not have lasted longer after 1990. It's a sea monster mystery. Exclusive pictures on Unsolved Mystery. Creature found in near Loch Ness. And so you get a little Unsolved Mysteries, a new Loch Ness monster.
Scary stuff.
Then it's a special wedding night court. One of the characters gets married at a bar. A felon threatens the club at the show Dear John, which was a Judd Hirsch sitcom in the 90s. And a special Quantum Leap mystery that's happening. And I loved, after all of that, they cut to kind of the background splash of NBC, and it's just it's a video of Scott Bakula going, Wednesday. Which they used to do that. It rang a bell, but it was like, oh yeah, that's so weird. Like after a commercial, you go to a completely different shot with graphics behind one of the actors just going, Thursday.
You needed that personal touch. I can't tell if the actors really want us to watch it or not.
Right.
Prove it.
Yeah. Well, they were friends you would invite into your home.
That's
almost
true.
like family.
When you come back, some beautiful, pristine, new Star Tours. It's still only a few years old, and you end up with, what's better than Michael Eisner saying a bunch of pop culture figures' names? What's better than Tony Danza saying a bunch of names? Why? C-3PO. Mm-hmm. Brett, can we see a clip of the best voice that could ever say character names that don't exist in the Star Wars universe?
Establish high-frequency bias connection with Satellite 5 in Sector Q368. Excellent. Oh, I can't wait to see Miss Piggy. She is on location in Europe shooting her new film. Now, don't blow a circuit, R2. Gonzo should be on screen any moment now. But look at the time. I'm most concerned about the absence of our host, Tony Danza.
Tony Danza.
Oh, and he's delivering it with no wink at all.
Yeah.
He's just Anthony Daniels just doing it.
He does it.
Oh, it's perfect.
He never did it in some muggy way.
No.
He always committed, no matter what it was for.
One thing I looked up because I was like, had people not seen C-3PO and R2-D2 on a screen in like since Return of the Jedi? And because now it's like you can
they're in everything.
trot these guys out all the time.
Yeah.
It's not like special. But I was like, I don't know. And I looked it up. And I guess there was like a one-off Sesame Street episode that C-3PO and maybe R2-D2 are in. I just looked up Anthony Daniels' IMDb to see like what's going on in between Return of the Jedi.
Well, surely he did a lot of non-C-3PO stuff.
He did some.
There was some, really?
He did some.
Wow.
I mean, like after the trilogy, it's like that's probably the best shot for him to try and do other characters.
Sure.
Yeah.
I do other things, you know.
Yeah.
Time to play Lear.
But like he has it in no real major way. This is like the first time those characters are seen again. And there was like a cartoon called Droids that I don't think was very popular, and also it's cartoons. You're not actually seeing them because it was like a bit of a Star Wars desert there.
Yeah,
there was a
Before the
time. It's hard
prequels
to imagine that there was a time. Well, there was also another Disney special, which was the opening of Star Tours, in which C-3PO raps.
Oh my god!
That is the other one that possibly. So this is the first time he was on television in a while not rapping.
Yeah. Droids in the two Endor movies were kind of repeated a lot on TV, and they all made me feel uncomfortable.
Right. Strange films. I remember watching the Ewok movies on TV.
Why aren't Luke and Leia and Han here helping these people? And the answer is Harrison Ford was making the Patriot games. Harrison Ford was busy with Witness.
Yeah.
He forgot what his Star Wars character's name was. That's how past it he was.
Indiana?
So he brings out Tony Danza.
Tony Danza.
Tony
And he calls him
Danza.
Sir Tony too. Sir Tony. He's dispatched just because they have a big TV in there so they can watch the Muppets, and he brings the Three Little Pigs because they want to meet Miss Piggy.
They also several times reference the Three Little Pigs as special guests in this special. And they don't say anything, and they're here at this point and never do anything again. I don't know.
Like a Greek chorus who shows up, and you see the judgment on their faces, but they never utter any lines.
Not a word.
Yeah.
I like that they're presented as equals to Reagan, though. That's pretty. That's worth
Ronald
the trip.
Reagan, the Three Little Pigs, Ernest.
And then I mean, I just love seeing the Muppets on the Star Tours screen. That's great. The room looks beautiful. And then I think it's a great Muppet piece of material. I think Jim was right. I think Landis brought it. I think
Bill Prady brought it.
Little Bill Prady brought it. It's a good little sequence where it's kind of a flashback piece. Again, we see young Woody. You get to see young Woody, young Ernest, and somewhat younger Miss Piggy. I don't know if it's 70s or 80s. I can't really tell when they're setting her, but I like her hair. Her hair's cool. And she sees Cinderella in a parade and is jealous and wants to be Cinderella, but instead is consults.
Who does she consult?
The nearest employee, the nearest mean employee,
doing what I would call a "What's the matter, you" accent, which every boomer thinks is like the funniest thing in the world. Like, I don't know, that's a Cinderella, okay?
It's a good word for it. Good word for the accent.
Yeah.
You can't beat a Cinderella. You want a bad balloon? I got a red balloon.
Hello, mother. Hello, father. Do you want a balloon?
Do you want a ballooney?
Balloony. Charlie Fleischer doing voices no one else can do. And he gets her a job as a maid.
A scullery maid, yeah. She hits the beats of Cinderella, basically.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I guess also just about Charles Fleischer, like we've seen him once in the present day, but twice in flashbacks. And so he could be playing the same character who's just bopping around to different positions.
Getting fired because they got a vibe, and then getting rehired by confusing them with a new accent.
Yes.
No, I'm not the same guy who was here before. I'm Italian.
I kind of thought of him as like the I'm going to make a reference. We were all thinking about the Johnny Depp, Willy Wonka. I think like the Oompa Loompas in that are all played by Deep Roy.
Oh, yeah.
And he's sort of every different version. And that's kind of how I think of Charles Fleischer, is that they're just like an army of Fleischers working in Disneyland.
That's good. I thought you were going to say he's Richard Alpert from the show Lost.
No, it's a Deep Roy thing.
It's a Deep Roy thing.
Doing
This is
a Deep Roy.
That's a Deep Roy.
But yeah, we go through some steps of Cinderella in Miss Piggy's quest to become Cinderella. They give her a insulting job and make her wear tattered clothes and scrub a floor. Cinderella, still in that interaction, is perfectly nice to her, but Miss Piggy despises her. It's good piggy business, and then it's good Gonzo business because he shows up as a fairy god thing. And there's this little moment. Can we pull up the clip? Muppets. This joke really made me laugh. This is a top tier Muppet joke. She's making wishes, I should say, and then we're at the third.
Oh, I wish you'd be more serious.
That was your third wish. Here is your receipt. Goodbye.
Hold it, Billy.
That's a very good joke.
Yeah. He, for the listener, he transformed from fairy godmother kind of clothes to just looking like an accountant. And I really like, you know what? I like the joke, but it's not even a punchline-y joke. I just really like the way he says goodbye.
Yeah, no, it's very
serious. Gonzo is very
serious.
satisfying.
Gonzo. After that, Gonzo is trying to hook up with every woman of age in the theme park.
Is that canon? Because I thought Gonzo was into chickens, but like, was he a flirty?
He's kind of a horny character.
Yeah,
isn't
he's
he?
kind of horny.
In the lack of chickens, he'll demean himself for humans.
Yeah, but he's when he's flirting with those two girls, what I thought was funny was clearly their background and they can't have lines.
Yeah.
So you cut to Gonzo and he'll go, Detroit, you say, huh? Well, like, they can't, he's like, where are you from? Detroit, you say. Like, they just stand there smiling and they can't say any words.
Yeah.
And he has to say all their lines for him.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's trying to hook up with, like, college juniors. He's not on chicken. Yeah, I always saw chickens, too. I thought it was like a Troy McClure fish kind of thing, you know? But in this one, he's just like, whoever's around, you know?
Anything with a pulse.
Basically.
This is one of these like Landis. You can tell Landis is a parks guy because he's like, just for a background shot, let's get some climbers on the Matterhorn.
Yeah,
that felt like a detail. Like he knows they do that. He knows he has power over Disneyland for these couple days. Let's get a couple climbers back there.
He also cast some characters as background. Like you see the Queen of Hearts just kind of like pretending to talk to somebody.
Right.
Pretty fun.
And I also like that the plan is to hang Cinderella by her leg. They're gonna snatch her, and then it ends up happening to Piggy.
Very good gag. Made me laugh.
I'm gonna be really curious if that tree is still there, outgrown. And next time I'm there, just gonna think about like, is that tree there where they just yanked physical Miss Piggy? The wonderful, like, I mean, we all pine for like practical effects in many, many ways, but the Muppets, and the Muppets obviously have kept it up, but it's so satisfying that they can just take a puppet, pull it, yank it, hurt it, throw it.
Yeah. I think that would have been funny either way. Like, I was like, oh, it's probably gonna be one of them get their comeuppance. But also, if they like get Cinderella in that snare, that's gonna be really funny.
You think that'd be funny?
I think that'd be funny, Cinderella? Like to see Cinderella get in a bear trap, like not a bear trap, like
lose
a foot in a bear
trap. You sick monster!
Jason's sick sense of humor.
Good God, clean off. Can't put that foot in a glass slipper anymore.
No.
What if they put Cinderella on a jagged stage and made her walk around and she fell?
Well,
she should know.
It would be her
fault. She should know.
She does like a pratfall kind of thing.
And the orchestra pit was like that pit in Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
You're the ones who went to violent. I went to the rope gag, like the rope on a foot kind of thing.
Well, you said bear trap.
You did say bear trap.
That's violent.
Well, what do you call that thing?
A rope.
Is that just a snare?
Yeah,
I guess.
rope
Okay.
thing.
A lasso.
Bear trap, I think.
Yeah,
the
it's
claws.
the claws, and it really
claws.
digs into your
Yeah.
flesh.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, that
You
wasn't
sent me
like
into
that.
Mortal Kombat land.
I guess so. Yeah.
That's your subconscious.
Do we think they cast Cinderella or they got an actor from the park?
Oh, I don't know.
I think that's the A-team Cinderella. I think
Maybe
that's
that's
the one
like
they would
the
use.
best
for
one in the
the
park.
best, the
That's
favorite.
Friday, Saturday,
Yeah.
Sunday Cinderella.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Peak
was
season.
I looked her up on IMDb to be like, I wonder if this was an actor. Only credit, which makes me think it's a park.
yeah.
It's a character actor.
Huh. There's also is this like a famous Muppet fact? Weirdly, and I'd never heard this before. In terms of the Landis Muppets connection, that goes back to. I mean, I don't know where it goes back to, but one part of that is that Landis is puppeteering in the last shot of the Muppet movie.
Oh, I don't
because
know.
they
I don't know that
expanded it
fact.
out. It was because it's like 200 Muppets, so they got anybody they could
Right.
for that big group shot, which is so wonderful. And also in there, not famous yet, but they just needed people who could pseudo puppeteer, and they got a young, fresh out of CalArts, Tim Burton.
That makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
And they met years later, and Landis thought they had never met, and he said, I was at the final shot of the Muppet movie.
And he's shooting Beetlejuice Jr. overseas right now.
Really? Is that happening?
It's Beetlejuice 2.
Okay. They aren't called. It's not Beetlejuice.
It's not Beetlejuice Jr. I don't know.
At least
as
not
far
yet.
as- yeah, not yet.
Oh man, they got Jamie Kennedy. They got the different baby.
Beetlejuice raps
Son of
now.
Beetlejuice,
It's
yeah.
great.
Good Lord.
Fun Muppets
we've
thing.
We've
Oh, yeah.
mentioned Bill Prady. Like, props to Bill Prady. Did a good job writing this segment. Also, if I assume your listeners would know, creator of The Big Bang Theory, Bill Prady.
Okay. Yeah.
Co-creator and also the ABC Muppets.
Yes, right. And he has continued to. I don't know if he still does. I think, but he did create the ABC Muppets.
Yeah.
From like 2015.
Oh, yeah. And Muppet Vision 3D. Am I making that up?
No, I think you're right.
That? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Muppet stuff good. Commercials.
Commercial break. Okay. Quaint back in the day commercial about seeing the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile in the 60s. Then we get a very 90s commercial for Permasoft conditioner. How Scotty Henry's brother eats a Reese's. I don't know if you remember that one. I don't know. They say Scotty Henry. I looked him up. He wasn't like a celebrity at the time. He was just a kid, and he has a younger brother. And do you remember how he ate a Reese's? One clean hole in the middle of the
I remember
cup.
that.
Yeah, I remember that.
I feel like I might have tried that.
I think we all did.
Yeah.
Eating out a fucking Reese's cup, trying to get a perfect circle.
You're supposed to make the alphabet, I think. So
it's Sunday Fun Night, the greatest practical jokes of all time, which I believe was airing right after this special.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, with Johnny Carson and Stevie. They say
Stevie Wonder, yeah.
with friends like Johnny Carson and Stevie. Well, friends of
Yeah.
mine, I
What?
guess.
Friends you invite
I
into
love
your
friends
home.
into my
Yeah.
We get a quick update. It's 29 degrees in Pittsburgh, and it's 7:38 p.m. They just come in for 2 seconds to say that.
Do you remember that that night? Did that take you back?
It was 7:38.
Yeah. Cold that early in the evening.
Yeah, but it was February. And then this is when we get the Liquid Plumber commercial with the mustachioed guys.
Your local specific. Now we know that was a slide out. If you're watching it on YouTube, that is the St. Louis version.
Right.
Just to
So don't
clarify.
freak out. And then we finally get Tony when we come back. He's doing hosting.
Yeah, yes. If there's
Doing some
it's
hosting.
been a long time, I think.
Yeah.
He's in front of Splash Mountain. They're pushing Splash Mountain
new
all
attraction,
the time
yeah.
at this, but then new and now closed. And
Ring, ring, ring.
And then the best person who could be calling, who's calling Disneyland, is this Disneyland? He says, which I like. And it's Ernest in crossing over with Splash Mountain. We did another thing we've done an episode about, and not the Jungle Cruise. Another special from around this time. Ernest goes to Splash Mountain. Ernest, a big part of the Disney family around this time.
Yeah.
Given the green light by Eisner himself, we realized he was like a discovery of Eisner's.
At a racetrack?
And it was at the Indy 500 or something. And like everybody, there was a little parade, and there was Mickey Mouse in it, and then some guy Eisner had never seen, and everybody liked him a lot more than Mickey Mouse. And he's like, whoever it is, give him a 4-movie deal.
That's crazy.
That's how that happens.
Man.
Yeah, Eisner hadn't been there.
Tony Danza can't go Ernest who after he just said he teased Ernest's appearance mere minutes ago.
Yeah. He knows.
Yeah.
I guess he forgot. A lot on his mind. Only 8 hour shoot.
Yeah, losing light, lunch penalties racking up. You know, I gotta say, I loved Ernest as a kid. I love Ernest now. This segment goes on a while.
Good God.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. This segment goes on really long.
You could fairly classify it as not an Ernest segment because it's not about. For most of it, Jim Varney is not playing Ernest.
Yeah.
He's Ernest's grandpa.
Yeah.
Pops. Yeah. And a kid is young Ernest. That's the theme of all of these. But I like him as the grandpa. I like when he gets mixed up in the cute, like the turnstile. You were out by then. You don't like any of this.
This was just like interminable for me when I was watching this, and I was just like, I don't like this new character Jim Varney's doing. It's boring.
I guess it's a generic old man. Should have let Shirley Fleischer do it. He would have brought a whole other...
No Fleischer at all to kind of ramp up the energy in here. And...
It's toward the end of the show. Like, this should have been earlier and shorter.
Yes.
Yeah, they should have given him some notes.
It's a pretty brisk special. Like, when I looked at the time I was watching, I was like, oh, this is almost over.
Mm-hmm.
But then, this Ernest thing, no Danza, no Fleischer. Like, there's just an Ernest short film, no Ernest.
Right,
no proper adult Ernest.
Adult Ernest puts on like a film canister to watch an old home movie of his.
Which, again, is within Cheers. Let's track where we are. The Cheers gang is watching a special, and on the special, there's a phone call from Ernest who puts on a movie for who at this point?
Yeah.
Cheers? This is for Norm and Cliff to watch. But how are we seeing it? I don't know. This there's a lot of that with Ernest, like with a POV. I don't understand in universe what's happening.
You know, they got a tainted keg of Narragansett lager, and it's just they're all freaking out and hallucinating these Disneyland memories.
I like that the highway patrolman. This was maybe I only liked this as a kid, but this had a big grip on me when I was 5. That like, does this is one of those things. Does this happen, Mom and Dad? I've been on the Autopia. I don't remember a police officer stopping me. Does that happen sometimes? And I was like really like scarred by it somehow. I think every Autopia trip from then on, I assumed this will be my day.
Well, I was also like, is this era appropriate? Because like, when is this supposed to be? This is an old film from when Ernest was a boy.
Yeah.
And then like, is the cop looked modern to me, the highway patrolman.
Yeah, as do the Mickey and Minnie. They don't get... Yeah, they don't get it all right. They don't get.
So this has to be 35 years ago. So how old is Ernest?
Yeah, how old is Ernest supposed to be at this point?
Ernest is at least 35, right?
And he's also at this point has been doing Ernest for 10 years.
Wow. Yeah. So it would have to. So the kid is like 8 years on this footage.
That sounds about right. Maybe as old as 10.
Let's say Ernest is 35, then it would have to be 20ish.
Go by that. Ernest doesn't look young to me necessarily.
No. he did all those soda commercials, drinking all that free soda, probably.
Oh, you think that damaged his skin?
You. Yeah, that hurts. That
Too much free
you.
soda.
Glug glug.
So it's fine. I guess we have mixed notes about the Ernest part.
I missed Charles Fleischer, and I didn't know that I would be thinking that.
Wow. Maybe Ernest said not on my watch. Maybe he considered himself a competitor.
And this was written by Ernest people.
This is all, yes, John Sherry, the Ernest.
John Sherry directed, and then like some guys who I was like, had they written an Ernest movie? But no, they like wrote on the Ernest sketch show, which I didn't know existed. And then
was it a kid's show? Hey,
like a Saturday
Ernest,
morning,
I think was the
yeah.
Okay.
And then they wrote like additional material for like other Ernest stuff.
So everybody brought in their people. Everybody, like all the brands are well represented. What's that?
Except Cheers.
Except maybe Cheers not written by Cheers,
but I'm wondering if like they did write it or ghostwrite it and like couldn't. I don't know.
There's some like WGA thing maybe.
There's a special thanks to Glenn and Les Charles, but I assume that was just for using the characters.
Yeah. The Cheers section is funny.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, everybody feels like
solid.
Yeah. No, it's good. Commercials for the closing.
Yeah, wholesome ad with a State Farm life insurance talking about like a young family, like they have a new baby, and it seems like it's a real insurance agent because he says his name and he's like, "Hi, I'm Gaylord Mooseman."
What?
It's like, I'm Gaylord Mooseman. And it was like, oh, what? It was just so distracting and so strange.
That one.
And you can that one's definitely on the YouTube upload.
His parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mooseman, in the delivery room, and it's like, we know. His last name's Mooseman. We know what we're calling him.
That feels like a character in The Love Guru.
Yeah, Gaylord Mooseman has not aged well in the 10 plus years.
Inappropriate. Yeah.
Just that one really knocked me out.
Oh my god.
Then there's a guy talking to his dog, and it turns out to be an Equal Sweetener commercial for some reason. And then this was interesting. There's a very 90s backdrop with like this young guy, and the narration is like, my son Jim, skateboard fanatic, music lover, guitarist, computer whiz, avid cyclist, football, basketball, hockey player, and all-star catcher. But there's one thing he'll drop everything for: Campbell's Junkie Soup. And at the time, like, all these things are being like thrown at him, like the skateboard and like a football helmet and whatever. But then, he loves that Campbell's Chunky Soup. But what I really loved about it was that the young actor is Academy Award winning writer and director Tom McCarthy.
Whoa.
Really?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Wait, from what? Who's Tom McCarthy?
He directed Spotlight. He and like The Station Agent, and he was an actor. He's in the 5th season of The Wire.
Oh.
And it was him, and very funny because he's not the most recognizable actor, but I had to like go back.
You.
And be like,
Wow.
that's him. That's
good catch.
Oh, wow.
He's like Todd Field, where it's like, if you look at the whole career, it is like a Forrest Gump. Like, you were at every event of the late 20th century, you know?
Todd Field was in the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile commercial.
He was in the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
Coming up with the idea for Big League Chew.
Big League Chew. Eventually he would make Tar and Little Children.
And be in Eyes Wide Shut.
Yes, as the keyboard player.
Right. Yeah, it's a jazz guy. And then we get a commercial for Doublemint and Big Red Gum, and it's one of these like quintessentially 90s commercials where it's like, seems like the budget was millions of dollars. It's like a lot of shots of like people playing like muddy football, and then like surfing, and then like airplanes landing, and there's a song going like, share a little piece of America, and it's about gum.
I miss that era. That incredibly Ernest. I mean, there was one. It was kind of a viral thing. I feel like this 6-minute sizzle reel that's a long song like that, and then a children's choir and all that. That's all for Sizzler. It's one of the longest songs I've ever heard.
Advertising budget
that
for some of
keeps
this
going
shit.
octave. Like the guy has nowhere to go by the end.
I highly recommend Share a Little Piece of America.
Wow,
the gums jingle.
It's a little piece of America.
And then we get a quick promo for an upcoming Today Show. A radical new way to cut medical bills. I'm very curious what that was.
Death.
Dying. Suicide.
And an up-and-coming anchor starts tomorrow named Matty Lauer. We're excited for him. He's going to go places.
He's joined by a little dragon named Scorch.
Our new weatherman. And then we cut to Tony Danza eating a burger.
Squirting ketchup on fries like a maniac.
Like, oh, hey, okay, so DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. And there you have it, Mr. Slap himself. We get, a good performance, I'd say.
I liked this a lot, and I was kind of like, I feel like the special maybe should have been a little bit more of this, like peppered throughout, like taking something very current, feels new, fun, like a very young kid would enjoy this because it's colorful, there's a lot of movement, but it's also taking a classic Disney thing and giving it
something new with it
twist.
that doesn't feel out of the realm of it's like there's other things like this that are embarrassing. I would say 90% of things where Disney meets rap are embarrassing. There is a very awful tag team Mickey Mouse Whoomp remake that starts with Mickey saying like, yo, Mouse Posse. Yeah.
That's a whole album.
Yeah.
We did.
talked
Again,
about that.
Disney.
an episode we have done, and not the Jungle Cruise. Just keeping track.
A couple moments, and I mean, they do a good job of inserting some cartoon footage from Mary Poppins.
Yes.
There's also some very funny cutaway gags to like there's
chimney sweeps.
there's one or two surly chimney sweeps in the crowd.
Just pumping,
If your hip hop it doesn't have a video with chimney sweeps dancing, what are you doing?
Yeah. It is funny to think about that. If you could travel back in time and go to this filming, you could pull Will Smith aside and go like, hey man, in 32 years, you're going to win a Best Acting Oscar, and it's going to be the worst night of your life.
The Fresh Prince pilot would shoot in 3 months from this coming out. It would be an NBC pilot.
Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'm sure. I think the idea was probably already percolating.
Well, here's what's weird, and this is the most fascinating thing about the Landis interview. That there was a musical segment. Again, he's coming in so last minute, and they did have a musical segment planned, but the musical segment was supposed to be with Donnie and Marie.
Wow.
Something else we've talked about recently. We covered this this Star Wars routine that they did, which itself was cruddy and out of date in the late 70s. And yet in 1990, the plan is Donnie and Marie. But so claims Landis. I'd seen the world premiere of the. He watched the world. Hang on. I'd seen the world premiere of the DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince video for Parents Just Don't Understand on MTV, and I thought those guys are great. Let's put them in the show. He saw the first time they ever showed. Did he make a point of it? Max, get in here. Big new video. Anyway, he claims that he brought this to Disney. Like, why don't we do something newer and fresher? If you can imagine something newer and fresher than Donnie and Marie. Yeah. He claims first time Will Smith was ever on national television. He gave them a list of 8 Disney songs and said, choose one and write it as hip hop. And they chose supercalifragilistic. I'm not gonna say the whole word. It's too late in the episode. And they wrote it on the plane. Landed at LAX, were taken to a recording studio. They recorded the song, went straight to Disneyland from there, where it was just put onto the PA system. They recorded it. They did a couple of takes. Then I put them on the Star Wars ride, and then they flew home.
Wow.
From Philadelphia and back, the entire thing was 48 hours.
My God.
Congrats, Landis.
Yeah, I was curious if they wrote this.
Yeah, I guess so.
And I guess they did.
Yeah. Which maybe it showed that it wasn't some let's get Disney's hacks on it.
Let's get someone over 60 to write a hip hop song.
The Sherman Brothers themselves. You ain't making this rap without us.
We understand how to rap, to rhyme. You don't think we've been rhyming for 40 years?
The original rapsters we were. So fascinating. Got to credit Landis for that.
Sure, and it really worked, I thought.
Yeah, it's cool.
And that's pretty much the special. The group is thanked again. The entire list is most of the special is saying the list of celebrities,
including the 3 Little Pigs. Thank you, 3 Little Pigs, for making time for us.
Which we say thank you, especially we there. Look, a lot of big stars, Reagan and everybody, but 3 Little Pigs, we see you.
There's also a list of special thanks at the very end, and the very last name of the list is George Lucas.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, without him, we couldn't have had this robot want to find Tony Danza.
Master Tony.
Master Tony.
But we do cut back to Cheers. We get our final
you're right.
wrap around of Cheers.
Still within Cheers.
Lilith does say, watching Mickey and his gang cavorting across the screen. It's like Mickey's not in this.
Yeah.
You see a tuned version of him dancing with the Fresh Prince, but not saying anything very briefly.
Yes.
But they must have shot this and not have known what the special. I mean,
I think
they
so.
must have known the Woody thing, but
it was the old version, probably the non-Landis version,
probably pre-Landis.
Oh yeah, they might not have known what was. That's why the Muppets didn't like their segment. It was mostly Mickey cavorting.
Yeah.
Woody's joke about the animatronic Reagan, very funny.
Oh yeah, a little risky for something that Reagan is in himself.
Right. Yeah, and then they're like, we gotta watch mud wrestling. Very,
very weird.
Very weird runner. And to end,
it doesn't feel like what they do, does it?
Yeah. Did they ever watch mud? First of all, was mud wrestling on television?
Maybe pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's what I would guess.
So the bar from Cheers paid $40 to watch women mud wrestle.
They used their Diners Club card to order women's mud wrestling into a venue.
The final line of the special. can we please go back to mud wrestling?
Wow.
And then Lilith stands up at a protest in the special, and it says directed by John Landis.
Wow. And then so for everybody who didn't know, you really didn't know, then that must have like, yikes.
Yeah, it was crazy. Also, Deborah Hill was an executive producer, and she's like John Carpenter's producer.
Oh, wow.
Which is very, very strange.
Huh.
And then, we get the credits we've already talked about.
Well, the end summation from John Landis is, so I went out there and shot this thing, which you ever see it is insane. Some of it's very funny. I enjoyed doing it. Miss Piggy's funny in it, but it's awfully odd. It says
that's about right.
That's about right.
Yeah.
Must be especially. I really thought that it was a premeditated thing to get Landis and like, well, let's for the 35th, let's make it very cinematic.
Go for it.
Discovering that it was just a happenstance. Henson mad. One of his final decisions in the year of his demise.
Another thing that would happen in 3 months is that he would be dead.
3 months. Yeah. My God.
And people close to him say that like all the Disney stuff, like Disney trying to acquire the Muppets, like really took a toll on his health.
Yeah. So any of these fun specials that the Muppets are in,
remember that
when you're watching it, think about what cost.
Killed Jim Henson. I did get a brief commercial break mid credits. That they then go back to
it's all cut in.
But like we get a commercial for something called a micro cup, which is just a Hormel like Dinty Moore stew, like that you can put in the microwave.
Oh my God, Jason,
That's
do you have
what
micro
I'm talking
cups?
about.
You have micro cups at home right now,
brother?
You have them at home right now?
Do I have them in my pocket right now? Do I have them on my purse?
Very 90s commercial though, like very like and like very fast zooms in on the micro cup.
It's funny you say that. My mom does have stories of like when you were little and starting to eat solid food, you loved beef stew.
Stories multiple.
We get a companion commercial to McDonald's coffee is fresh, McDonald's eggs are fresh. That's because our chickens lay 2.5 million eggs every day, and then that makes a cartoon chicken that was dancing die. It like passes out because it's really distraught. Then we get a classic. You just won the Super Bowl.
Really?
Joe Montana. For you won it for the second time in a row. You and the 49ers have won back-to-back Super Bowls. What are you going to do? And he says, I'm going back to Disney World.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay. It's amended. It's back to. Wow.
And I haven't thought of those commercials in a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked it up, and like I guess I was naive at the time, but like obviously these were paid sponsorships.
Yeah. They felt like casual or something.
Right. Yeah. Because I only experienced it as a kid, I never really thought about it. And also like they paid the losing quarterback to also do this.
Oh,
because they would air it right after the Super Bowl.
Right after,
right.
Yeah.
So they'd have to get both.
So they would pay John Elway or whoever was the losing quarterback the same amount of money, and then it just would never air.
And still going. I
feel like they do it live on the field now.
I don't know. Peyton Manning said it once and was not paid. Just because it's part of like the the lexicon now.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think it depends on where the Super Bowl's held. Sometimes they say Disneyland, and sometimes they say Disney World.
I looked this up. They record both.
And they do both.
Regionally, they air a different one.
Oh, I wonder what
a little mini episode about this. This is all fascinating.
And so mine was Disney World because Pittsburgh is closer to Florida.
Yeah.
Than
it's not based on which one the guy's going to. It's based on where you're
the
watching
market.
it.
The market that's airing the commercial. Yeah.
Wow.
And so that was like an unexpected like Disney commercial in here.
Now they would do it for certain regions, they would do I'm not going to Disney World because of their woke agenda.
And then I got a promo for a special DuckTales Valentine episode coming up with Afro Ducky.
What?
For Aphrodite.
The Aphrodite.
Aphrodite?
Yeah.
Okay.
Aphrodite.
Oh, wow.
That's what it was.
I don't remember her.
Yeah, it was a DuckTales Valentine. And then, of course, stay tuned. They do the classic, the credits are scrolling. We're back to the credits on the special, and they do the classic, someone speaks over it, like, stay tuned for the greatest practical jokes of all time. And cop meets, they just describe Lethal Weapon, because Lethal Weapon is also playing.
Okay.
And then I got before the video cut out, I got a very, very, very quick second of a Cosby promo.
Oh,
that was
great.
the last thing.
As if like a jump scare.
Yeah.
Hey,
I truly think, and maybe if your listeners want it, I can upload it because it's digitized. It's truly Bill Cosby popping out from behind a wall.
He's
scaring Felicia Rashad.
Oh no!
Going like
it isn't saying boo or something. Wow, perfect. Well, I mean, this is everything you want from an old special, you know. Weirdos who've done odd things since, but then some of the greats that you miss, like Tony Danza,
Charles
Michael
Fleischer.
Eisner, Michael Schwardner, the Three Little Pigs. You get them all. Fun to rewatch, fun to revisit for these purposes.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to watch it again, because it's like, I will say, when I was digitizing this tape not long ago, it does it in real time. And so like
so
I just I put it on to get like the however long this tape was, and like left the room to go do other stuff. And then I did come back during the Ernest part, and I was like, what on earth is this?
How did we get here?
And so I'm glad I got to watch it and get the full context.
To know how cruddy how cuttable the Ernest segment was. Well, thank you for revisiting with us. This was a blast. Joe Kwaczala, you survived podcast The Ride.
Oh my God.
So happy to have you. Long overdue.
Thank you guys. This is a blast.
Great topics to do with. Let's exit through the gift shop. Anything you would like to plug?
Of course, my special is on YouTube at Helium Comedy Studios page, but you can just search Ooh La La and Joe and Helium, and you'll probably get it if that's what you do on YouTube. But yeah, that's the special. It's called Ooh La La. And also, if you want to just click on a link for it, you can go on my Instagram and TikTok is Joe Kwa, Twitter is Joe K. I have all the links all up in there. And soon, keep your eyes and ears open. I have a sketch album coming out called
cool.
Funny
Yes.
Songs and Sketches, and that'll probably be out in August.
Oh, I'm excited for this. I really like that idea. Hey, lots down your rabbit hole, I would say. Great videos all over the place from you. Your podcast, Who Cares About the Rock Hall, which I love doing. And
thank you.
Happy to go the other way podcast. To be on this side of the desk or the table where you do it. To be a table in that case, but pretty much the same thing.
And Joe, I was so glad we finally had you back on, but you and I had talked about another
tease
this
something, which is that my girlfriend has an exceptional Cranium Command story, which maybe I think this is the best place to do it. to reveal that story. And someday hopefully we can figure that out. But
great.
I really love this story, and that's all we'll say about it.
And you told Scott there is a story. I know what the story is.
Yeah, Jason does know, because I had pitched it to Jason.
Okay.
But and I had, when you met my girlfriend, we were talking about it. But it's all under wraps what the content of the story is.
No spoilers for me.
I don't know.
This is like Dial of Destiny. I don't want to know what. Cover my ears. I don't want to hear any more about the dial.
Well, sorry, I don't mean to spoil anything for you, but that dial could change the course of world events.
Oh no! Okay, but just don't tell me if it does. Now I know there's a lot of repercussions to this dial. Thanks so much. Well, that's a good tease. We'll figure out how to unveil that tale. And for us, you can find us on all the socials at Podcast The Ride. Thanks to Brett Boehm at Forever Dog for producing this episode. And there's a video version of this. It's a good one to do it for. We should make a playlist of this and your special and this special and maybe just that Bill Cosby clip right at the end. Yeah, right after your special. So it's the face people remember.
Yeah.
Curious about, absolutely. We should see if we can actually retrofit it into the special. But if there's any clips that I described from the commercials that anyone wants to see, I can cut that and put it out.
Wow, what an offer. Geez, that's very personal. Hey, and if you want to see us in Las Vegas, then please come to Podcast The Ride's Big Vegas Groove Blender Saturday, July 22nd at the Space LV. Tickets available at theSpaceLV.com and the Patreon. Podcast The Ride, The Second Gate, our VIP tier, Club 3, all of that at patreon.com/Podcast The Ride. A lot of fun to do this, but hey, we got to go now. It's Jungle Cruise time. All right.
Forever Dog.
This has been a Forever Dog production. Executive produced by Mike Carlson, Jason Sheridan, Scott Gardner, Brett Boehm, Joe Cilio, and Alex Ramsey. For more original podcasts, please visit foreverdogpodcasts.com and subscribe to our shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Keep up with the latest Forever Dog news by following us on Twitter and Instagram at Forever Dog Team and liking our page on Facebook.